ESL presents ESL Challenger League in partnership with Intel, Acer Predator, DHL,
Yesterday was an epic start to the ESL Challenger League. Cup number 2, Season 51 rolls on in Europe as we continue to bring coverage here on ESL TV. My name is LJ. I'm joined by Dweg, as per usual, as we continue to cover off our brackets.
Indeed, I was pleasantly surprised with Ursa yesterday, but I was very disappointed with Big Academy yesterday, Jay. And I think for that reason, I've come in with a new mindset about seeing some new faces, some newer competition, and especially riding the upper bracket, hopefully some more competitive games between the two.
Indeed. Yesterday wasn't the most competitive affair. I'm hoping that maybe today will be, although I'm not going to hold any particular regards here. The first couple of rounds certainly are delivering in some stomping affairs in certain capacities. So I am looking forward to seeing how far these teams are going to press them, in particular across all of our 7 PM matches today. We've got 5 coming up for you simultaneously. We're covering one here on the main channel. And there are some interesting matchups and things that I do kind of want to keep my eyes on in terms of how they're going to pan out, because everybody involved here, I think in the upper bracket thus far, has at least a respectable chance to try and make a run towards that top 8.
Yeah, you'd certainly think so. I mean, I think Nemega are a clear, obvious favourite tonight as one of the teams that are probably going to go on and show up in quite high regard. They'll probably look with the lineup that they've got with $12,000 on the line for first place and a qualification to say, right, well, let's be one of the tournament front runners. Let's try and stay in that upper bracket for as long as we can.
Of course, top 8 for the prize pool, and of course the first place prizes, including the spot in the playoffs to make it into the ESL Pro League and all. That's what it's all about for some of these front runners, and teams like Nemega, for instance, will be looking to try and gun for that above all else. The progression up the world of Counter-Strike is what it's all about here in the Challenger League. But let's talk a little bit more about progression in the Challenger League itself. You mentioned our bracket, you mentioned how things have proceeded across day number 1. We got to see the Ursa versus Big Academy matchup. Pretty simple stuff for the Ursa side. This is how things look as of right now here in terms of our wider bracket. Already some teams have made it into the round of 16, Blake.
Yeah, TDK, look, they won it the last time, so they're going to be another front runner. X-Ruby, always a pretty consistent team in Tier 2. K27, also quite good. I'd like to see what G2 Ares is made of, because in the past they've caused some good upsets on LAN. Not really been a team that's upset too many high-end squads when it comes to the online atmosphere, though.
Well, they've already taken down the Danes of State in their second round game, so taking on K27 instead during the next proceedings. Gen 1 knocked into the lower bracket, and XZ10 versus Nemesis is currently in its third, and that one of our afternoon matches still ongoing in the lower portion of the upper bracket. You can see a little bit more of the teams we were talking about, the likes of Nemega taking on TLR, Harvu are trying to progress up as well. One winner have already taken a victory as well. They're moving into that round of 16. As is Maspataris, I assume that's going to be a forfeit win for them over the Whitebird side. I would have thought the Whitebird would have put up a better chance. And again, as I said before, Ursa will be taking on Sangal in our matchup today. Moving on from that Big Academy matchup and hoping that they can also try and maintain another victory in their campaign.
Indeed, you've also got some rivalry matchups. Mana versus Eternal Fire. You've got Rigon versus his ex-teammate of Senna. You've got 2 teams that have played each other on LAN quite frequently. And right here for Ursa, we got to see them yesterday. Still in a little bit of roster turmoil as the days continue on and the series go, but they'll be very happy with what the performance they put up. So they'll come into this series against Sangal today and say, right, well, let's continue in the upper bracket. Let's get another win on our board.
Yeah, for those of you that weren't tuning into yesterday's broadcast, Ursa, we expect them to have Shalfi on the roster because he is registered as their official 5th, but as of late they've been playing with their coach, Jo, who will be in today as well for the Ursa side. So you've kind of got this weird roster scenario going on for themselves. We don't really know what the permanent 5th situation is looking like. They don't have an official permanent 5th in terms of the team as a whole, so we have no real inkling as to how this Ursa side are going to be looking going forward. And even though Jo is a very capable player, I think we had some impressive moments from him during yesterday's best of 3, he's not going to be a permanent solution to that 5th man slot.
No, he won't, but he's the perfect guy right now because he was an in-game leader. I think that there's a lot of coaches out there that were star players or anchors if you're coming into a team as an ex-pro, it is always a real good beneficial if you can call, right? And I think that's what he's been able to do. Now, you've got Alv on the NWP, you've got Salazar as your anchor player, and then you've got Karnez and Forex that are a little bit more of those star players, taking a lot of duels, taking a lot of activity. And we saw yesterday they played, Overpass, which is a map that they don't really play, and looked really good on that. And then they went into Dust 2, and while the scoreline may have shown it was pretty competitive, I think it was only Jaboan that was just about keeping Big Academy alive. So we always know that Dust 2 is a good map here for Ursa.
Yeah, they have just been looking so proficient in their best of 3 yesterday. It didn't just look like a set of fraggers, a bunch of CIS players that come out of nowhere and they just pop some heads and hope for the best. No, they actually do look like they've got some structure involved in it. And maybe that is the JO effect. Maybe that is his whole backroom coaching style, or in terms of in-server being the captain of the team. As of right now, they just look like a very cohesive unit. And certainly their roster turmoil hasn't stopped them from getting wins here. 3 back-to-back victories coming into the afternoon. They just lost the matchup, however, has put an end towards that streak. So in the Nodwin event, Astral have just taken them down. So it's not going to be quite the 100% level of form that I was expecting to be talking about here today, but still they are doing pretty well as of late.
And that last result that you got up on screen, Ecstatic, that was a round of 16 single elim game in CCT, taking down a top 40 VRS team in the world. That's the Buzz, Nikodos, and TMB lineup of the Danes. They're quite good. They get into a lot of playoffs. They're pretty consistently making at least the quarterfinals, the semi-finals, and the majority of Tier 2 Cups. They've even been able to get into a lot of grand finals recently. So that's a really good scout for Ursa, and now they've got to do it against what looks to be a crazy lineup on paper.
Indeed it does, but you talked about roster turmoil for us a moment ago. Sangal, that applies twofold, because we don't really know what's going on with this team at the moment. Cypher's coming into the roster now. It seems like they're testing the waters again with him. We don't, again, know if he's going to be a permanent addition. There's been no official word on signings or contracts or whatever. And I've got some other players like Clax and Patsy that look pretty respectable, but it is very lopsided at the same time, because on the other side of the board, you've got Prime Taps, who never really was part of a true top-end Tier 2 team, and Radix, who up until this point has never been part of a Tier 2 team at all.
It's a very confusing roster on paper. You've got Clax and Patsy that have been extremely successful in the Tier 2 CIS scene, being high-end Tier 2 players. You've got Cypher that's been in and out of projects for the last few years of his career, never really getting too much of an opportunity to stay long-term. And then you've got a young 17-year-old Orpa that's just not ready for this level of competition at all. It has to be said. He spent a year on Sangal's academy team. He got promoted in January. He's still here because of trying to hold the VRS core, but he's finding it really rough. And looking at Al being a pretty proficient Orpa, one that's fairly consistent, I think he's going to get outclassed in this best of 3 today. So it puts a lot more impact on Cypher with those aggressive moves. It puts a lot more on Prime Taps as being a stable rifler. And then also for Patsy to just call this team into wins. They are desperate for victories. They can't keep losing like this on HLTV.
Yeah, the recent results have not been looking good. So many losses recently. And there's just the 4 results that we have in recent times. Doesn't really give you the full picture. 5 of their last 6 best of 3s have all been losses. The only exception being that Los Kagutos matchup. And overall in the last 3 months, only 7 best of 3 wins. Like, how can you keep up if you're the Sangal side like this?
Well, you can't. I mean, that's the bare minimum. I mean, you look at the best of 3s that are on screen, losing to some random polls there in Zaj, and then losing to X0 Tenacity. Bro, they're only a core 3 just to keep the VRS core alive. They're mixing. They're not even pracking. So it tells you that for Sangal, they need to go on a little bit of a run. And what's crazy to me, Jay, is that in the very last season of ECL Cup number 3, which was only in October, so we're talking, what, 5 odd months ago, Sangal placed second. They literally were able to beat Hotu, Monty, 500, Johnny Speeds, ESC, get themselves all the way to a grand final. And that's when it was Clax and Patsy and Danis, Nori and Resort, when they had a full Russian team, when they had direction of the lineup, when they had an identity of what they wanted to achieve. You now come into March, and I just don't even know what I'm looking at with this organization.
Neither do I. All I'm looking at is potential, maybe something to be spoken of in terms of the form and the level of players, but even some of the stats don't really read towards that. Your players to highlight for is Karnez and Cypher. Cypher obviously very much outnumbered by Karnez, possibly due to his inactivity, but almost certainly because Karnez was an absolute beast in yesterday's performance, and he's easily been the standout star of this Ursa camp.
Well, he dropped 53 kills, 124.5 ADR, and a 1.75 rating yesterday versus Big Academy. Now, they're quite similar players role-wise. kill-wise. Karnez isn't quite as aggressive on T-side as Cypher is, but Karnez had the most opening kills out of anybody on his team in that best of 3 yesterday. So we know that they're going to be looking to create a lot of space. We know that they're going to be dueling quite a lot. I just don't know if Cypher can hang with Karnez. Now, Cypher's only played a few best of 3s here with Sangal since standing in, and it's not looked all that promising. Now, we expect an Anubis ban to probably be coming out here from Sangal. They've been banning a lot of Anubis recently. As for the picks, you'd expect Ursa to go in towards Dust 2, and then for Sangal, it's got to be Mirage or it's got to be Nuke. It's only going to be one of those 2 maps.
I'm going a handful of options in the end here. I mean, for the Sangal side, the win rates won't look positive regardless because of the nature of how they're losing these best of 3s. Dust 2 indeed will get brought out by the Ursa side. We saw how confident they were towards that. Nuke coming in for the opposition line of things. And again, on paper, you do want to say the veterancy might help them out here. I think the team play from Ursa is still very, very capable. And I think that Stang will be a lot more shocked at what they can bring to the table on that map.
And knowing how good their overpass looked yesterday, I don't even want to see them ban it. I'd rather see them ban Mirage here, not get that strong suit over towards Sangal because they have been playing a lot of that map recently.
Yeah, you're right about that, but they do take away that overpass, so in the end it will be Mirage's other side. More standardized compared to yesterday's proceedings, and maybe that is because of the fact that they don't really like to play it all that much. Only 5 maps on record from the Ursa side, so the inexperience will certainly come back to bite them if it is going to bite them in any sort of map up there. So just avoid it, go to something a little bit more standard, and even then you might still be able to take it over this Sangal side, because despite it being the best map in the pool, the highest played, highest won for the Sangal side, they have also been partial to a lot of these losses to these lesser sides, like the Zags, like the Omegas, like the 1-wins and the X-Rubies. That they haven't really been able to post that many great results.
No, and that's always going to happen when you've got a team that's outside of the top 120 on VRS. When you see that the decline is in, the win rates are never going to look good on the majority of maps. At least we know that Mirage and Nuke is picked quite frequently in best of 3s for them. Now, for Cypher, he has played no Dust 2s, actually. This will be his debut on Dust 2 here for Sangal. When it comes to Nuke, he's played it 4 times in the last week or so. And then if we do go to that Decider Mirage, 3 play rates. So again, just starting to get a bit of a feel on what he looks like. There's only his 5th best of 3 since being on trial, since standing in. So still a very small sample size to see just how strong he could be and whether he even wants to be a 5th player for this team moving forward.
Again, that's what it's all really about in terms of the side. Now, I think that in general, this Sangal team, if they want to try and make the wins happen, if they want to try and maintain their spot within VRS, they need to sort out this lineup above all else. They need to find that permanent 5th, whether it be Cypher or somebody else, and they need to find an alternative towards Radix. I think that you obviously made it very clear that he's not ready for this level of competition. It's been the case of both of their academy call-ups, because Hox was also involved in this team. He didn't even last a month, didn't find a permanent 5th in his replacement, so now they're trialing new players. Radix is going to also get replaced at some point if they want to find that success on the Sangal side. And I think something you also mentioned, I don't know if it was publicly or privately, Dwayne, but something you mentioned that really stood out to me is that there's a potential that Sangal might just end up dropping this team and looking towards other August projects if things don't improve, and I could see that happening at the same time. For me, I'm going to back Ursa in this one. They looked so good yesterday, and I think it's going to look good here today too. Yeah,
I'm going to be backing Ursa as well. I think for Sangal, these next few tournaments, these next few weeks will clearly decline and clearly be an example of whether this team's going to stick together or not. So you desperately need to get victories up on the board. Now, into the pistol, it's a very slow and passive line of engagement from Ursa. No one really holding out towards mid. They clear out the lower tunnels. And Cypher is just going to fall back to play a triple B setup.
It's going to have that passiveness involved from the CT defensive here. Ursa, now a lot of map control as Sangal will just hold the defense with utility basis. The long and short control being locked out by a reverse crossfire. The smoke actually almost forces to cancel that from this one on the Sangal side. They had that bomb on that short access as they start searching towards the tunnels. Might start to get a little bit leery for the attackers. Salazar does take challenge. Prime Taps does also see him, but backs away doing no damage.
Even that contact does not force Cypher back into beam. Instead, he's got a read to come out to this A-bomb site, and perhaps he needs to get this crossfire because he's trying to defend short and long at the same time.
Decent nade onto Karnez will keep him tagged up. Not a massive amount of damage being done there, though. Just the information spot of one player in the tunnel, so they've kept the majority of players over on A, suspecting that there is something at play. Smokes are ready for Owl. We're going to try and go mid to B with it. Down towards CT spawn. All 5 start moving. Clax will have no access towards the contact. Primetaps needs to get a handful of kills out of this one. Only goes 1 for 1, and Radix is still waiting for players to come in from the tunnels. He's watching from back plat, sees one, trying to take those headshots, but only doing damage out here, and can't stabilize against Salazar, who overwhelms him. The bomb site's fallen, and 4X in towards mid, takes down 2 more players to lock out the crossfires, to lock out the rotations, and leave Clax in a 1 versus 3 clutch that he just cannot win.
They just make it look really easy there from Ursa. They pressurize short, pressurize mid, slow the round down, get a smoke down to CT and just start exploding. And his clean entries into the bomb site. Yes, there's an opening kill there from Primetaps, but he gets traded immediately, and then they just start swarming the backside player. The young rookie is struggling, he's whiffing, and they just overwhelm him completely. And even 4X, not only does he waste time, but he does a hell of a lot of damage cutting rotations. And Clax might even get dropped at the end here. It's going to be a perfect start from Ursa.
He does get Alf down at least for 1 little consolation prize. It doesn't make much of a difference because the round is, of course, going the way of Ursa, like you say. Pistol win as solid, and I won a lot of pistols in yesterday's proceedings as well. Seems to be a bit of a second nature to them. Early starts definitely put them up on the front foot and really let go of that front foot against Big Academy yesterday. So see whether Sangal can do much to return right here. I want to see what the force buy would look like if it does come through for them. Clax has got a little bit of cash to spare if they do decide to maintain that happen, and that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, Clax and Patsy need to get this team back in order. They know with the players that they've got at their disposal now, and also the players they had in the previous iteration, being 123rd on VRS is unacceptable. Early mid nades, both with the smoke and the molly. Cypher and his teammate at Primetaps are going to be forced away.
4X just barely at the edge of that Molotov. Lean in, Cypher down. Primetaps can take the trade, but Kano's in with a quick responsive, and Pats are going to get caught up by Salazar, so no trouble at all for the T's.
They tried to go in for an aggressive approach and just get red easily. It's a little bit gimmicky there from Karnes to work on the edge of the util. Primetaps eventually turns his back, but it's just slightly too late. And, well, 2v4, there's going to be absolutely nothing in this one. The scout even getting caught. Should just be saving both of these weapons. Might not even happen, though, because Jo is still top mid to try and cut.
Indeed, he will take down Clax very effectively and very quickly after Radix for full. 2-0 the start for Ursa, and the force buy, of course, should make it a 3rd as well. Nothing really gained out of that round for the Sangal camp, and with the force buy in mind, need to win that round if they wanted a secondary investment. Nothing saved. He gives them no real breathing room. A deagle for Clax and for Primetaps. That's going to be basically it.
We've mentioned how Jo has been the head coach standing in recently here for Ursa. Funny enough, Jay, he actually replaced Clax on K23 in late 2022. So that might be a little good rivalry between the two of them.
A little bit of late revenge coming in from Clax. He does start off the round well enough with the 2 deagle shots down towards mid. No bullets missed, and neither of those players were Jo, but starting advantage to his efforts, the 5-on-3. Still going to be a little bit difficult for Sangal to push past the finish line here. They've got no Kevlar, they've got no other firepower. They haven't been able to pick up those rifles. They were dropped up top mid and suicide.
They're still searching, though, which is the right way to play a 5v3, not just sitting back and gamble stacking.
Isolate a decent fight on Karnes. Clax, whilst blinded, takes that headshot. Triple for him in a round, and a 5-on-2 now starts to get dangerous for Ursa here.
Yeah, this is falling apart completely, and it's down to Clax's individual efforts. JO's bomb's not quite going to get caught. Salazar's running through the mid-smoke, gets away with 1, and Primetaps makes it a 4th in the round.
Primetaps indeed. 1 to the head. And Jo is all alone, being flanked by Radix as well. The young blood, the least experienced player for his side, getting the kill in onto Jo. And the USP in mind, a handful of weapons saved as well. AK, 2 Galils, Mac 10. Then M4 bought in by Cypher. It's almost a completely free investment for the Sangal side, and a stolen first round for their board.
Excellent shooting coming out of Clax, and considering that he has got nearly 1,500 maps played on HLTV, the 2nd most out of anyone in the server, he's still quite young. He's only 23. He's only had, let's say, the advances in the Tier 2 landscape over the last few years, just around the online era. So a guy that's got a lot of potential still in his career. Now, this is where Sangal have got to make something of it. You've been able to get yourself a bit of a gift on a Nico. Now you've got to convert on a gun round.
And can you believe that Clax's first tournament record was when he was 13 years old on Wikipedia?
It's pretty crazy.
Been around the block since that point. Well reputable, well recognized, and certainly looked up to in this roster for very good reason. Patsy more engaged against the casualties though. 4x first man down as he will fall eventually towards Karnez. AK quickly picked up by the Turk though. 4-on-4 established. Karnez is low HP.
It's getting quite chaotic for the first, let's say, 30 odd seconds, and then it gets quite stalled out. It gets a little bit slow, especially with the HP bars being low from Karnez. Now, Alv is hoping for an activity. Slight move, jiggle peek, something towards mid. The CTs are grouping towards this area en masse.
Peeking towards mid. Cypher does manage to get ahead of the curve, protect his teammate, and take down Salazar, but he'll fall quickly to a scout off the back of that. Too much damage being done towards the Brit. Radix now AK in hand to find Karnez. Quickly sprays Awkward. And he falls for it. Clack's now not sure if he should go back to that bomb site or wait around the longhouse. Going to catch off Jo. Awkward spray from him. Complete contrast from the Deagle round of the previous. And now Prime Tap's way too far away to do much bomb plant denial. It will go down here, and from here it's probably best to save.
Yeah, that angle is always 50-50, isn't it? When you're looking down towards the lip on elbow, you've just got to hit the headshot immediately. And for the youngster, the 17-year-old, he just whiffs straight away, and Karnez on 14 points of health deletes him. And from what we saw with our own eyes yesterday, with his level of individual form, with how sharp he was hitting, with how many multi-frags is, if you're whiffing against him, the round's just going to be over, isn't it? Because he's going to punish you for kills that are just going to make such a difference.
Can only beat Karnez at his own game. He is the star of this Ursa side. At 14 HP, he really should have been taken down there on the elbow position. I know it's a tough headshot. It was prime real estate for Sangal right there, and they're forced back down to the 2-round disadvantage. AK does get held over at least by Prime Taps. That's a little something. A lot of cash in the bank with the majority of those saved weapons to drop for Cypher, buy up across the entire board, including the AWP out for the CT side.
Ursa have not shown any pace to this start of the Dust 2, and they didn't yesterday when they took on Big Academy. They had slow defaults for the majority of the time. Finally, they've got some long spawns, though, so they're going to flash out quite heavily.
Wasting no time, Karnez will lead the charge, and the CTs are backed away pretty much entirely here. Clax and Radix. So the smoke's coming into that position. Let's try and block the access, try and block the contact. Radix is still going to try and find an angle towards the end of that smoke. Flicks don't quite connect towards the first or second shots. Does find it on the third one, though. Alv down. Second man of fall of Karnez. That's a bit more like it. With moments with the automatic weapons, with a single shot, it's a 5-on-3 to his effort.
It's still an info play from Cypher in a 5v3 towards the lower tunnels. All about timing on whether he gets punished. Not being cleared there from Salazar. And the AWP might as well just keep fighting on this one.
Now, allowed a triple. Finally getting taken down by 4x at range. He's isolating these fights rather well. But 3 more to take. Can't allow the headshots on the quick transitions over from Prime Taps and Clax. Clax credited with the casualty. The AWP stays in. And Sangal lock in a relatively decent second round.
And it's one of the notions of the Turkish scene. Where are the AWPers? I mean, outside of Woksik, there's never been strong AWPers coming from Turkey. A lot of good riflers, a lot of good anchors, but that's been the one role that they've always struggled with. I mean, even Space Soldiers back in the day, Paz used to do a bit of AWPing, Magic did AWPing, Engine did. Everyone was all part-time AWPers. So maybe this is a promising sign that there is a young AWPer that's at least been given a chance here to Sangal.
He can step up his game to be more consistently impactful. You certainly see a future. One round doesn't quite change the critiques that we've leveled towards him so far. Taking the early tags, I think, towards a knife from his teammate out there towards mid. JO's going to find the opening kill on Patsy, however, as he extends out towards this short access, and he's the only man out there at close range. Mac 10 gets away pretty nicely as well. 89 HP for the man.
Patsy getting bullied right now, and crazy to think that only a few years ago he was playing on the Tier 1 organization of Spirit. And now he's trying to in-game lead a real ragtag team. Karnez out from mid-doors has got Cypher and Prime Taps a little bit further behind. It gets really slow after that opening kill from Jo.
45 seconds remaining for them. M4 fighting well from Cypher, but just held off by the wall there, by the doorway, and a lot of those bullets even missing in the open space, leaving a 5-on-3 now to be established. One man known towards Longhouse, and they're going to use that information to try and counteract here. Prime Taps is going to extend out of the B bomb site to look in the mid to B via the mid access, and Forex and put him right back down. Only one trade gain for it. The last two players back over towards A need to save their guns once again for Sangal.
Yeah, their defaults look good, man. That round's right there is a prime example of it. They slow it down. They're not being greedy. They then spot, what, Jo out in Longhouse from Klax's POV. And then you've got another player towards short that puts a smoke down. So you're thinking, oh, there's not a huge amount of time left. They're going to go for an A split. And then straight away, they go mid to B. And Prime Taps gets away with one kill. But then that second mid player doesn't really peek straight away. He waits for the players to scale out on the bomb site. And then they come together. So tactically, they look really sound right now. 4-2 up. I think the only unfortunate nature is that you've not been able to get these last few exit frags, right? That you still give an M4 and an AWP to be safe for the opposition.
They'll get quite a lot out of this. Ursa still continue to extend this lead, still get away with a lot more. Remember, that was a broken buy, in fact, coming into this one, so... handful of weapons held over for free. AK's taken out the CT side, hands AWP. Now be surrounded by SMGs on the part of the Sangal camp. And Radix missing a shot to open things up here in the tunnels to HE. Looked like it was sent right towards his back, but doesn't quite connect the damage there.
Well, I like what he's doing. Round number 7, you're desperate for rounds. The economy's not ideal, so you've got a weak buy state at 2 SMGs. You're being quite aggressive. You're trying to get that AWP to open up like a start to the round, a 5v4. Fortunately, it doesn't quite come, so you're being forced away by Util. And Klax, well, he can't even block out here at pit. He does not have another molly. He does not have a smoke. So the only thing that he can do is just stall for time in pit and fight.
I've got a flashbang to set up his teammates to move on. Klax trying to engage, but caught by the second flash, gives Jo a simple kill. HE's to open set smokes, and Kana's going to utilise that vision to take down 2 more and maintain complete access and control of the bomb site. 5-on-2, 1 HP for the start, but Cypher and Prime Taps are in no positions to trade and no position to retake.
And they're all over them right now. This is looking very promising to the start of Dust 2 to getting a one-sided lead. You might even be able to get a 9-3, 8-4 kind of first half score, and then from there you put a lot of pressure on Sangal moving into the second half. And I think Ursa noted themselves, consistency is never easy in Tier 2, but we've got to get out of this slump of being stuck in closed qualifiers, because they've played in, what, 5 of them in the last 3 months? And it's just because they're too low ranked in VRS. And then the issue there is, Jay, you go into those closed quals and you keep playing mixed teams and teams that aren't pracking and squads that keep making roster changes. So you're not really going up against the better caliber squads. I mean, it tells you if they can 2-0 Ecstatic earlier this morning, they're a decent side, okay? They've got a good tactical basis. They've got a good understanding. But then you lose to Astral that's just happened an hour ago. And they've only just added GXX into that roster. And that was meant to be like a whole Latvian-speaking CIS kind of team, and then they then throw someone like him forward. So it tells you that it's that Ursa want to get out of that, right? And I think if they get themselves a good run here in ECL, if they can win a few upper bracket games, if they can get themselves maybe, let's say, with inside the top 70 or 80 on VRS by the end of this tournament, that's when I think you start getting the invites into a lot of the main Swisses, and then you don't have to constantly be playing those closed qual teams.
Could only be to their benefit and all. Because you are right, Ursa have never really been at the kind of position where they are always going into those like higher end tier 2 cups. The close qualifier runs have always been awkward for all teams. I mean, it's stuck in that elo hell is the opposite of where they want to be right now. ECL is the perfect platform for them to maintain. They've already got a decent start here. Take down Sangal, progress to that next round. Nice HE. Damage, kills, not quite secure. The incendiary lands inside that smoke there. But still, this eco shouldn't really be getting too much here for Sangal's part.
But they should just be giving that M4 straight to the hands of Klax. 15 armor and 67 HP, no point running it. Patsy trying to play anti-flash, and Ursa are still keeping this very slow. They've got a lurk outside along, and another lurk in the upper tunnels, with the majority of players grouped in mid.
Oh, good spray there from Karnes for a moment. 4X is also going to get taken down by Klax. Out of pressure by the AWP's presence at close range. 2 kills are found, but Radix able to trade it. So a couple of rifles now to play with for both Cypher and Radix. The bomb in the meantime is going to enter in towards that B bomb site. Salazar's already got the map control required. Sangal can already be happy with this. 2 saved ACOs over into the round into round number 9. It will mean that Ursa will get to minimum 6.
I don't think they're saving here at all. I think they're going to go for this.
We're going to get smoked off from the tunnels here by Jo. As soon as he sees contact, he'll try and block. He'll just put it down immediately there, actually. So, no vision allowed. Cypher, try and play entry. Footsteps heard. Jo with 1. Cypher with the returning frag. 1v1. Can't quite lock out the secondary kill. Knows exactly where the man is, though. That Molotov going to try and drive him back. Smoke on towards the doorway, but a counter incendiary is right there from the T-side player. Cypher making noise. Looking for the bomb. Now being seen. Salazar will take him down. And we'll maintain that 6th for Ursa. Again, for a lack of investment, though, for the CT side. They've done quite a little bit of damage. It's a shame it won't cripple the buy just yet.
It was definitely a good decision to go for that 2v2. They're still going to get a strong buy-in anyway. And when you've got an opportunity, when you've really been outclassed at the start here at Dust 2, you've got to take the moments when they come. I think what is already showing the difference, look at Alv. He looks really calm there with the orb. I mean, he's being seriously pressured. He's in an off angle. He's being swung from short, from mid, and he still gets away with 2 kills. We're already seeing that quality difference between him and RadixX.
I mean, he might not have found a sick ace-like defensive sequence, but he has found a lot more in the round since. Coming towards the B bomb site. Cypher's good to take down Salazar first up. It's pressured out by his teammate, not really able to provide support. Forced down in the open by the utility. Karnes and Alv can take both those players down. Prime taps and Cypher 4. Radix has been tagged up towards top mid. 4X is waiting for more contact. Just going to stall this out. Disallow any real breathing room for the CTs to get into rotation positions, into retaking moments. Radix is going to get caught back. He takes that one man down, but this should not lead into any more from this round for the CT side. Patsy given no real vision. RadixX given no real access, so they'll start to fall away. At least the Orpa will. The M4 now. 24 points of health should follow suit.
And I'd have to like to say there, Jay, I don't think the B players have done anything wrong. I think they've looked quite tidy there on the bomb site. You've got Prime Taps dropping util at the right timings. You've got him not over-peaking after taking first contact. He's trying to flash, he's trying to tuck, he's trying to get Cypher in from car. And while it's a 5v4, they then instantly just drop fights. And maybe it is just a game of losing it on pure fundamentals, on just pure firepower. Because that's a real shame. And, I mean, look, this is maybe another reason why Cypher is at least thinking about trialing for this team and potentially joining. Him and Prime Taps played together on BC Game, right? They played 125 maps together on HLTV. They played at the IM Dallas LAN in May last year. So they've got a good chemistry between them. He's not played with anybody else on this lineup. But I'm sure when Dennis got benched a couple of weeks ago, Prime Taps said, well, look, Cypher's a good option for now.
Hopes to maintain this matchup. Unfortunately, not in this round. The Pistols are back out to support the AWP. A boost initially for RadixX. Nothing done there towards lower tunnels. A little bit of damage done to Karnes, who's been pressured quite a lot throughout this position. But nothing to get the actual casualties against his name. He's still providing impact when necessary. It's 4X that steps up to maintain the 2 kills in from tunnels and out towards short. Now, as the AWP player drops the first. There's 3 overall in the round for him. Klax doesn't get away from Alv, who peeks in with that counter AWP. And Karnes ready for Prime Taps, does get his piece of the pie as well. 6 to the good right now for Ursa, storming ahead on their T side.
Yeah, 8-2. It's not felt like a competition at all. It's been a real shame here. We've seen a lack of competitive rounds. We've seen maybe even more threat on the anti-ecos than we have in the gun rounds. And this has been a Sangal side where no one's looked impressive individually. No one's been able to put up consistent multi-frags. And for Ursa, it's just default every single round, and they just keep working more and more success.
And as it carries on like this, Sangal more and more slipped by them. This Dust 2 does see Cypher and Patsy take down 2 casualties to start off round 11. Versus Matt Pick, certainly feeling like it is so at the moment, however. Especially as Salazar gets his trade back. Radix caught by damage as well. There's a couple of players that are low HP for Ursa, however, so it's not completely silver liningless here for Sangal.
Well, it's a crazy individual move there from Cypher. I don't know what he's doing, trying to get out there towards under Xbox, especially with even Patsy trying to fight aggressively. It's a 5v3. Just sit there and play crossfires, play back in the bomb side. This is very losable now for the CTs.
And Patsy will cross back to open space, get to that B-bomb site. 45 seconds on the clock, and the A-side defenders, one of which is low HP, will now be up to task here. Utility inbound, smoke. Elbow, flashbang goes over, shot missed by the Turk. He's trying to get the hell out of dodge. They made their way in towards open space. They might be able to challenge those 2 players up long, so bomb plant can get secured. It'll be a 4v3 still for the retakers here on the CT side.
Alv is going to have to be a difference maker. Low HP, that AWP is holding short, and then Jo and Salazar is going to have to fight against the rotators in spawn and out from long.
So first the task, 1-for-1 trade against Prime Taps. Now the last 2 T-side players are low HP. Clack starts to make his moves. Incendiary towards Gandalf is a right move to make, but Alf still gets Prime Taps down, looking into CT spawn, and turned back towards Clacks on a double. Radix suddenly alone, 6 points of health, dead to rights on Salazar's part, and the recovery is there for Ursa.
Yeah, and Cypher might be our guy. I don't know what he's doing in a 5v3, pressing the doors like that. I mean, you're so desperate for rounds. You're getting absolutely slapped in reality. And then there it is. It's unnecessary, it's greed, and perhaps that just tells you everything about Sangal right now, about how the team's flow is looking, how their form of results is looking, that they could have 5v3s and they're just trolling. They're just over-peaking and they're not closing rounds down.
Broken investments stay still. Going to get 1 kill for Radix there with the the scout, rather, I should say, to the head. Carnage, Cypher, and Alv go blow for blow, however, and playing a 3-on-3. Carnage, 4x, Patsy, Radix are the players that have all fallen simultaneously. 3 to the good now. Weapon advantage favouring the Ursa side. 3 AKs versus the 2 M4s for Mars, and of course that 7-round lead looking to grow to a 10-2 half if they get their way.
Well, they're making an info play towards mid because it's getting really silent. There's plenty of time still left on the clock, so Cypher's going to try and clear the majority of top mid. It's all a matter of timing, though, on whether Salazar is holding, and yes, he does catch that timing correctly.
Cypher down. Clacks for Mars needs to protect the info, but also would love to upgrade that weapon into something a bit more capable. He starts searching at the long house. He'll start to make his moves as Prime Taps will hold the central swap bomb site defensive. And holding from elevator as well. JO's want to watch the backstab, so Mars will not get away too easily. The M4 time is not with his favour. Clacks falling the right timing there with the utility pulled out on the closer player's hands. Clacks will get that kill, but Al will return back towards him. And Prime Taps trying to get up to higher ground here on the boxes, back at elbow. Bomb plant secured down a default. Prime Taps is utilising that smoke put up by Alv to just gain a little bit more cover, a little bit more progression to the bomb site. Getting his kill. 1v1. No info on Salazar. No info on his last known position. And he pops up from ramp to put him down. 10-2 at the turn of the half is more excellence from Ursa as they roll through this bracket. Ursa in dominant form as of right now. An excellent 10-2 to start off Dust 2. And they look to try and capitulate all of Sangal, who might have looked competitive at times today. They might have held some moments where they did nothing wrong, where Ursa outplayed them. The fact of the matter is Ursa still outplayed, outfragged, and outperformed them in the opening half.
And it's very concerning for not only the rest of Dust 2, but also Nuke that is going to follow. Now, I know that Nuke is not a great map here from Ursa, but confidence is high for one team and extremely low for the other. I think for Sangal, they just need to at least survive for a bit here in the second half, just to give themselves some sense in this series that they can hang.
Most definitely. Cypher strikes first. 4x first to fall. Alv with a decent trade back. Jo to also follow it up here, and they maintain the man advantage into the pistol. Looking for the second one. They go flawless once again in these best of threes. Cypher and Patsy have fallen. There's nothing left in it right now for the Sangal side, and they don't really have any inklings as to how to recover this situation.
But they've got space towards A. You've got short already being taken, so you want an A split. The timing's not that great, though, because Jo and Alv are now clearing map control. That's a great tap from Alv.
It's Clacks down. Radix and Prime taps. Try and lean forward, try and challenge them even more so. They will lose one of Kane. That's Radix's efforts out towards mid. Prime taps on the bomb side towards A, running out of ammo, but eventually gets his kill on Salazar. Turns into a 2v2. Starts to make this doable now for the T side. But surely he's not bound for much more here. It might come down to the Turk once again to try and clutch this one together for his side.
Yeah, he is not helping out Prime taps at all. The only thing that the Germans trying to do is just waste for time. Try and shave more time off of that bomb.
He's keeping one player away from the bomb site for now, but Alv is inbound quickly. Jo, one bullet away from taking down Prime taps, and he gets that casualty together. Jo returning to Prime taps as Alv is taken aback by Radix with another defensive sequence, this time on the B bomb site with a pistol pulled out and an all-important pistol round win for Sangal. A must-win round right there.
That's well done. The young man has definitely been struggling a lot individually. I don't think he's ready for this level of competition at all, and perhaps it just tells you that by the HLTV maps played. So before he joined Sangal, he'd played 13 maps on HLTV. You're going up against Jo that's got 1,500, Clacks on your team that's got 1,500, Patsy at 1,400. These guys are long-stay names in Tier 2, and it's very difficult to try and adjust to that level. Karnes tries to adjust by going extremely hyperly aggressive out here towards top mid. The only one with an upgraded pistol outside of JO's P250, and it gets nothing.
And trying to guess with these pistols, really not much to be found. So harsher eco out of the Ursa side, unlike the 4 spies we've seen from Sangal in the first half. Take it on the chin, get to those rifles as soon as possible, and give yourself maximum numbers of chances. Of course, they've got plenty of rounds here to work with, and plenty that Sangal need to bring on a comeback. So even with this positive start to the half, it still needs to do a lot more before they can start generating threat.
Yeah, a lot of focus on this first gun round of what the answer is going to look like here from Ursa. I'd love to always see that Mac 10, that MP7 try and stay in play. Keep it as much of a bonus as possible. Now, Alv has got to make a decision where he either wants to go glass cannon on that AWP. It's definitely an option here.
Will he take that option? No. M4s across everybody. And bonus weapons and a bonus rifle round for the Sangal side, of course. Haven't got a whole lot of room to make mistakes with, so they'll need to prioritise getting the round above all else here. No AKs to do so. Fast in towards Longhouse. A lot of CTs to meet them. Prime tap's good for that opening kill on Alv, though. Damage being done heavily towards Cypher in the backlines, though. Mac 10, not ideal for the rest of the round, but at least they've got that man advantage.
And for Sangal, they've got quite a few options here. They can keep scaling long. They can retake top mid. You're getting a mass over rotation here from Ursa. They know that they've packed in quite heavily, and they've been able to spam just through that long lurk smoke a kill against Cypher. So that is a really important return kill.
Ensures that there is going to be no man advantage. Not like it would have made a massive difference for Cypher's HP bar. One more less man that can have impact. Patsy starting to walk his way into the tunnels. They heard the footsteps on short because they made no qualms about their hero, so they back away just as carefully. Clax will take that map control back, and they are leaning in towards an A split, so that's where 3 of the 4 players remaining for Ursa are.
Prime Taps has seen one player just on the lip of that smoke. Clax is hoping for a good timing and also seen the Goose player.
Bomb now been spotted there. That'll call in Salazar for extra support. HE Molotov's out. Clax gets his kill onto 4x. Pads are going to follow it up. Karnes with one tray back at Goose. For now, he's got the whole side defensive to deal with. Smoke down, providing some cover for both sides here. They're going to try and extend beyond that. 2 giving up towards Karnes. Last man's low HP, and both players run out of ammo. The USP's pulled out, but now Radix needs to deal with Salazar at 100, and he's still got his pistol. Return Salazar. Oh! The headshot still comes in from the young Turk, who provides another clutch moment for Sangal.
Oh, just when Karnes looked as if he'd made the play of the game. What a sequence out there from Goose. Great adaptation to drop that smoke, deal with the long player, and then just try and prioritize them flooding through. If he had an M4A4, he probably gets the last. Those few extra bullets would have made the difference. But what a clutch. Low HP. Salazar even draws the bluff. Doesn't even swing straight away on the tap. Back-to-back clutches in one half.
That's a huge round. Only bonus weapons, yes, but like I said, very little breathing room for Sangal to make mistakes with, and they nearly made some key ones right there. Ursa. Half-bought upgrades, SMGs and pistols in this round, so it's economy starting to stabilize. The kill should come in rather easily for the T-side attack, though. Patsy and Cypher getting off pretty easy against the 3 casualties they take between 2 of them. Bomb plant should be secured soon enough. Salazar will get 1 kill on Cypher. But that is about as far as it will go for this one. 6 to the board as Sangal now 4 to the good on Ursa's advantage.
Well, they're just getting themselves a bit of a round streak together. We saw, what was it, 7 rounds in a row towards the tail end there of the first half. That was a long and extended streak. Now we've been able to get 4 from Sangal. 4x is hoping just for 1 exit frag. Even if he does get 1, he probably won't be able to save onto the rifle, but just try and do some damage to their economy, not try and build it up massively.
Only 2-4 for Sangal in the end. Want to make it a 3rd or 4. Prime Taps, he's ready to receive. Money will continue to get built upon for the team's side. As now the international squad seem like they're going to try and get back into this game from here. A rifle victory over Ursa now would only solidify that return. There are no shortage of weapons. You've got the 4 rifles for both sides. No bonus weapons from Sangal. No limitations of the buy state for Ursa. M4s, AKs, AWPs.
Ursa know that we need to try and keep this pressure off right now. This has been a good round streak from the opposition. Let's end it quickly. AWP on a boost up. Cypher, aggressive move up against the Orpa, and while he's done 95 damage, it is still an opening kill.
Opening blood returned easily. Out of low HP on the AWP, scoped in that smoke and didn't realize Prime Taps was pushing the issue, so now Salazar's left alone to defend mid and the B bomb site. Needs to win this fight, can't win this fight. And that is round over for Ursa. Sangal have turned the heat up to 11.
There we go. Prime Taps making a move. Alv, always going to be difficult for an AWP when you're on low HP. And then right there, not expecting the lurk on the edge of the smoke. A bit gimmicky, a bit solo, and the lurk pays dividends. 4x is hoping for a little bit of late damage, but still, Prime Taps gets another kill in the round.
Triple in the round in general. He's starting to step it up. 13 kills, the frag leader for his team. Radix and Cypher are 12 apiece. Those are your core 3 fraggers right now. Clax hoping to enter that domain as well. Around the corner is Jo for an exit frag. Doesn't quite get it. A little bit of expense doesn't make a difference in terms of the next round buy. Again, $10,000 on a couple of players there. The Sangal side, show how confident some of these rounds have been for them. Team side basis bonuses. And within 3 of Ursa's lead, the 1 rifle saved should not be enough to buy in full. Upgrade half buys will give another opportunity towards the international side, who are now on a bit of a roll, a 5-round streak. Within touching distance of closing that gap.
Cypher just trying to walk through that smoke and straight into the entry. Now, we saw Prime Taps lurking aggressively in mid in the last round. Cypher's now lurked aggressively into B. And one of the reasons, Jay, that is probably a good factor to why Prime Taps was brought in last month in February, the current assistant head coach of Sangal is Tugux, who used to be a coach on Sangal back in the day, but was also a coach 3 times on Big Academy. Now, quite early on in Prime Taps' career, he spent a good portion of his career playing on Big Academy. So he's already got that working relationship with Tugux. So when the roster's in a bit of trouble, when they're making a lot of transfers, that's a factor to say, right, well, come on over, and we're going to try and see if we can build a bit of an international project now.
The identity of Sangal may be tested at times. Even right now, we're not certain what they could be, from Turks to Poles to Russians to Brits and Germans. We've had our doubts about the direction of this team, but that win right here can certainly start to set up some of that direction in the series, at least. Ursa's map pick felt like it was going to be confidently there. Sangal charging in quickly to try and make sure that they can continue to apply that pressure, and the returning potential steal. Cypher in the entries. Prime Taps forced to the TK, but does take down Karnez at least, so it maintains that 4-on-3 advantage. True to the favour of Sangal right now. Jo in the open, trying to look for blind sprays and similar stories for the AWP beyond that smoke. But Jo gets the kill on towards Klax, and Radix can take him right back.
The AWP is still keen for this fight. Alv wants to put that pressure up. And Salazar is not forcing an over-rotation just yet. He's worried about a lurk. What a shot that is from Alv, though.
Yeah, on the walkout as well. Radix going to get right back to that AWP. Was passing it back to Klax on low HP. And that connection shot signs it into a 2v2 now. Bomb's been dropped in the open. Needs to get recovered by the AWP. Preferably before the smoke clears up. He will do so. No one's got active access towards the A play. B is completely open for now. The Molotov from Prime Taps will try and sell them on some sort of B play, and that will draw Salazar in and draw Alv back on the rotate. So A starts to look open now.
This is just timing from both of these teams, because you'd expect that Radix wants to smoke down CT here. He probably doesn't want to scale with an AWP across CT without a smoke. So as soon as that goes in, that will be more information.
Smoke goes out. Counter HE will be a little bit early for Alv. He won't see anything. He's sent over. They peek ahead of it. Salazar getting given that chance to take down Prime Taps, and it's all on the Young Turk again. Another clutch. His third chance to be the solo winner of the round for Sangal. A hero in this second half. HE so well plays against both players. Flashbangs go over. They're damaged up. Shot missed out though, and Alv connects his on the return. And it will be an 11th. Finally ending the streak for Ursa. 6 in a row for Sangal. But their lead can start to extend once again and try look to the end of their map.
Well, I'm not sure what Prime Taps is doing there. That's a 2v2 where they've got plenty of time on the clock. Just wait that breakage of the smoke out. He peaks so early. And even though Alv misses, you can see that he's crossing. So both players are pinned on the same position. Salazar's going to catch him if Alv doesn't. So unnecessary. Ursa give themselves a bit of a lucky break. And for Sangal, I mean, a lot of these aggressive moves are working out for opening kills. But here it is again. And then nothing on the post plant, not even a single connection coming through from the AWP.
Sangal. One set back. Can they pick it back up though? Attention drawn towards Longhouse for Ursa's. Left a lot of short access. They're going to flash their way in to try check for it. Patsy beyond the wall will see nothing of the CT contacts. They're going to standardize 2-1-2. Cypher flashed in towards mid to B. Beyond the mid doorway. 4x going to catch off. Radix is not quite ready for that. Cypher's good to trade it though. He's going to back away to maintain.
Pick up the NWP and try and scale out towards mid, and Karnes just swings straight into him. No flashbang from his teammate of Salazar, no jiggle even. Not often do you see Cypher will pick up a big grain.
He's landed it though, he's going to protect mid with it as well. Rest of the team start to look into the execution. Salazar's alone in the back of Plat. Lineups are perfect for him. 1 kill found. Second, not so much. He got very close to Klax though. Cypher's orb can land one more on Jo. And the last man standing is Alv, the true AWP player. Cypher just firing blinded, hoping to catch the man. Nice leg shot from Al beyond that doorway. And it keeps Cypher low, but it keeps him alive. And a 1-on-3 that Alv needs to set in on the clutch. Being crept upon by the Brit, who's searching mid, but Alv in the tunnels. Have to sneak away, slither out of there. Still get taken down by Klax though, it looks like here. The Akers can have him exposed. Seen. Better shot of the head. Takes him. And no man stays alive for us. So instant response for Sangal. We are still game on in the dying stages of Dust 2.
This, to me, feels as if it's going to be the kind of game that as soon as Sangal get themselves up to 10 or 11, that's when Ursa just say, right, we've given them too many rounds, let's close this over and done with, and it's just going to be a 13-11 end. They've allowed themselves into the game quite a lot. I mean, we've not seen a huge amount of CT success, and if we had a clutch on that A-bomb site previously, it might have even been an undefeated streak in this second half. Let's just see how far they can realistically get this score. Now, the CTs are fighting for long, and without good spawns here for Sangal, they just have to respect it.
Alv trying to play into mid-access. The HE's down on the doorway and the smokes. I'll reveal any contact of the T-side presence. Patsy will not get Molotov'd away from this short access either. He'll just be allowed to wait out the flames to burn away and walk his way up the short play.
And Patsy's hoping for a timing. Baits the AWP, and he might draw the fight out in the open. The M4's hoping that he does swing.
Doesn't go too greedy with it, doesn't overextend. They suspect that them, well, they expect the potential of 4x's position. And don't go all the way around that corner. Instead, Khan is ready to receive. Cypher flash forward of that smoke. He gets that kill. His entries have really come alive in these last handful of rounds. It leaves Salazar alone towards that B bomb site once again with 3 men defending A. And Cypher starting to creep. His teammates starting to make moves as well.
Yeah, he's just brute forcing this mid position round by round now. And for Salazar, you're going to need a miracle here. You're going to have to get 2, maybe even 3 kills if you want to hold.
Smoke flashes go over. Prime taps will be seen first up. Only 1 kill's found. Cypher can cut the rotations, and the CTs, you can already see they're not even bothering the rotate, so they're just going to let it go. Let's keep the weapons for another buyback in the next round. And a 10th on the board of Sangal. 1 more to go to even the board that Ursa fought so hard to put the gaps upon. This was a 10-2 half, remember. 4x will at least get 2 trades back out, a little bit of exit damage, ensuring that his rifle's protected. And the hunt won't be successful from Sangal here.
And all the maps that we've seen from Cypher in the last CCT tournament looked fairly average, didn't really have any pop-off games, but then also didn't have any games where he was really struggling and putting up low numbers. And this is one that he's now coming to the T side and he's just getting entry after entry. He's now starting to get up towards 18 kills, get close towards 20. And remember, he qualified to the Starlight of Budapest Major last year with Fnatic, but yet hasn't found a home in 2026. I think it's been a difficult period from him being dropped from 500, the organization completely disbanding. And you've now spent, what, the first 3 months of the year trying to find something, and you still don't know if this is the right project for you. At least being on trial and playing a few officials with Sangal is going to get you playing HLTV reps.
Again, uncertain of the future for him on this team and in general. But if he performs like this, then certainly get a few offers at the very least. Jo and 4x took collateral tags in from the AWP outside the long house. The shoulder shots were in. Remember that plays out towards the blue bins. Fights against Klax will eventually yield to these opening death. 4x credited with it. He's one of 2 players that can get traded by Sangal if they continue along the long campaign. But they've got other machinations here. Cypher working his way up the short.
Unfortunately, Prime Taps and Radix were the only players outside of Long, and both of them had used all their flashes. So there was nothing that Clax could use to try and get out of trouble there. Oh, the CTs are wrapping. I like this.
Almost no idea. Radix is dead. This is big stuff. They're so low HP, but still with so much confidence. Patsy, where's his rifle at? Glock's pulled out. Still be able to get at least one of these kills, but if he holds his nerf all the way, he can get both of them. Jo going to be seen. 4x now spotted as well. Line him up and knock him down. M4 picked up with Prime Tap support. That's information called up. And they take no risk with that one. No info on the exact HP damage done. So 3-on-3 will remain. Cypher starts to make his moves out short in the meantime. The timing couldn't be better because the AWPer is distracted. No idea what's going on. The Molotov's indicating the short execution. Gives up the ghost on Cypher. He's forced to act out quick, but he makes it successful regardless. Bomb plant will be secured. And Prime Taps, and even Hun Salazar down when I heard those footsteps into the tunnels. Karnes has no chance of the retake either. He will fight Patsy, take him out, but the safe call's already been called in.
That's crazy. That was a 5 versus 2 advantage there from Ursa. They had so much going for them. Alv gets caught on a bit of a timing. That lurk from Patsy was just kind of crazy to come back in T-spawn. And then to not even have a weapon, to have that Glock, be able to get that first kill, pull the distraction in from the player swinging lower tunnels of Prime Taps. Ursa probably would have felt as soon as they cleared top mid, as soon as they get themselves in a position where they deal with the AWP at Xbox, that's it. Round's over. It's going to be a 12-10 score, probably 13-10. Instead, this could be on to be a map steal from Sangal right now.
The takeoff 5 down. Once again, it puts pressure on the economy, and you are right about that. 11 apiece is where we've come out from. A 10-2 advantage at one point for us, so they've only scored 1 in this second half. And it completely changes the complexion of this series when talking about the confidence for Ursa over on Nuke. Now you look at their win rates on Nuke and say that, well, you might have bottled your one key chance to get involved in this series. Now with the way the Sangal are playing, Alv does win out the AWP battle, at least in this round. To start off, once again, an opening pick is found for Ursa's part. The smoke comes in to try and block him, but he's going to push forward a bit. Flashbangs all of his teammates. Looking for Prime Tax next, covering fire. Going to play distraction because they have no idea and no inkling that Alv would push forward to that cover.
Yeah, they've got some crazy confidence to go for some of these hyper-aggressive moves. Cypher is now going to try and lurk out because they're desperate. They need to get this kill on the anchor.
Seen him. Salazar's down. Secondary player unknown about, and the AWPer can't connect. Cypher had his attention turned towards the doorway. Had to make a ballsy play. Patsy will try something similar. In from the mid door. Karnes is caught. No flashes in for Clax, who takes a fight but loses it. And Patsy is known and alone. And at the very, very last hurdle, when Sangal were this close to taking a lead, they look to be forced to try and play for OT. Patsy can't do anything with his HP bar being where it's at. Alv with a triple in this round. And his map point finally for Ursa.
We're just seeing a bit of a spark there, right towards the tail end. It's a good shot for the first, but it's a really gimmicky and ballsy reposition. If anyone is holding that, it's a pure punishment against the AWPer. But instead, he's able to sneak through. The off angle catches the last. And for Sangal, they've now got to try and see if they can push this into an overtime.
They only need 1, but so do Ursa. Flash, smoke coming in towards the longhouse play. Quickly out from Cypher, the first man forward. Clax right behind him. They extend out quite far. They look to that AWP's position. Alv missing a shot and tagged to half as a result.
Now, last time they took long heavily, they didn't scale long immediately. They ended up going back towards top mid, and Patsy's been caught, so now they do have to scale long as a pack.
Quick in now, Molotov sent. 4 players total to deal with here. Trying to disrupt the line of engagement for the CT side. Alv low, Prime Taps low, dealt with by the Molotov in the end. Cypher with that one trade. Needs to get a whole lot more out of it. Radix catches Alv, the AWP battle going his way this time. Smokes down, cleared up by the HGs, and Cypher extending out wide. He's tagged up a little bit as is Clax. Player on top of the box comes up good. Clax with a returning frag. 2-on-2. Salazar still holding the bomb site as his teammate tries to wrap. The M4 needs to get his kill in and almost does. Clax dinked down a 6. The bomb should get recovered by him. The flank is inbound, being washed out by Radix. Taking it back, and now one man stands. Clax needs his own massive clutch. Not seeing the bomb site just yet. 40 seconds, the smokes will start to fade, so there's no more cover left for him. The bomb with him. Where does he plant to?
Well, he's got to tap and draw a fight, and that's what he's trying to do right now, but it's not going to happen. And I said it, Jay, I had a feeling it was going to be one of those 13-10, 13-11 games. That's exactly what happens. I think it's just classic Tier 2 CS, right? You have a massive lead, you give yourself a few rounds to the opposition, and then just when it comes to crunch time, right at the end, you get the job over and done with. Now, while that was a good comeback from Sangal, we saw some impressive moves from Cypher out in mid, you've also got to remember, they came off of the back of some clutches, right, quite early in that second half. If we're not getting the pistol clutch coming through from RaddyX, if we're not then getting that 1v2 that he wins on the A-bomb side, this game is over 13-4, 13-5, see you later, we're straight into Nuke.
And that's very true, right? But equally so, those clutches were able to set up what was a little bit of an excellent T-side in general there from the Sangal side. They got 6 rounds in a row, brought that gap back quite nicely. Only 1 round was scored by Ursa for the longest time in that second half. And for Sangal, from the back of those rifles, we saw some excellent entering in from Cypher, excellent supportive play from Prime Knives. Even RaddyX had some impressive moments, which is kind of surprising considering how much we criticized him at the start of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't really changed much of my individual judgment. I still think they're going to struggle out on Nuke. I know that Nuke was only just lost earlier from Ursa, and it's not a great map in the pool for them. I just don't see enough here from Sangal, and I think it shows you that by how this map started. They were down, what, 2-3? And then it went 2-10. You're losing all those rounds in a row. You're losing all of that momentum. And with Ursa starting out on the CT side, I think it's going to be difficult for them to try and send this into a third map decider.
Well, I do believe that Ursa is still on to win this series, but I've got a bit more faith that Sangal can do something on this Nuke. It is a pretty poor map in general for the Ursa side, and not that much more better for Sangal, but it is their pick in the series. So with an 11-round return from a 10-2 deficit, I do believe that Sangal have a little bit more to speak of here in the second map. Their pick after this very short break. It's Nuke when we return. Well, Ursa did come out on top with their Dust 2 win, but the tail end of that second half, Sangal did look like they might have just about threatened. An excellent T-side comeback from a 10-2 deficit, turned it into a 13-11 win eventually for Ursa. Now they move into Nuke, which is home territory of the Sangal side. Blake, you are still not convinced that they can do much here in the second.
No, there's a couple of reasons for it. First off, I think Ursa's Nuke recently has looked okay. The last week or so, they just narrowly missed out a win against Illwill, an 11-13 loss. They were able to get a 13-11 earlier this morning against Ecstatic. Yes, it's not going to be a best map in the pool for them. It's going to be on the weaker side. It's going to be quite inconsistent. And then you can say the exact same thing for Sangal. I mean, look at who they've beat recently. Lost Kagutos, Zaj, Omega, X-Flame Sharks, Omega again, CS Dillon. I mean, they're getting absolutely no good wins against decent competition in Tier 2.
It is very true, and I will also add to the fact that obviously being a tactical map, you need to have the tactical basis down pat, and you're still playing with a fifth-man standing situation, and that also applies to Ursa, given the details of Jo being the coach. However, with the coach also being involved in the team more actively, you also have that counteraction. So there are like points to go back and forth in both teams' favour. Something that we haven't mentioned so far is Ursa are playing this third best of 3 for themselves today, and I'm starting to wonder how much that fatigue factor might come in, how much of that like slowing down at the end of the day might end up coming back to bite them, and we didn't get a chance to talk about it before we got started in the series. Now that we've got to see at the first map up, seeing how that 10-2 started to evolve from the Ursa side, I'm starting to wonder if that's going to become a factor now going forward from what should have been a very simple 13-4, 13-5 kind of map. Yeah,
look, maybe, right. I think when you're up by that kind of a scoreline, you'd like to have closed a lot earlier than what you actually did. I think, unfortunately, Karnez was getting bullied by Cypher in that second half. A player that we hyped up quite a lot at the start of the series, didn't really do much on Dust 2. He was one of the weakest players across the entire field. So I'd like to hope that Karnez can show a lot more, because he definitely showed a lot more yesterday.
And if Cypher can continue showing what he did on Dust 2, then here on Nuke, they're going to give themselves a key chance to maintain here. It's a CT side start for Ursa. Sangal in the pistol, already seeing Cypher with the entries. 4x taken aback. Instant P250 shot for the Brit. And a bit of a lackluster smoke set beyond the red box cross. It gives Alva a quick trade back alongside Prime Taps, tagged to 1 point of health. Couldn't quite get that third man on the cross, so 3 players go downstairs into that B bomb site attack. Meanwhile, Clax lurking upstairs will catch off Jo inside a hut.
They slow down the rotations, but Karnez is in a really good pose to try multi-frag. And if Alv can try and support him from ramp, then you've got a crossfire. Now, with this lurk from Clax out towards door, they're even thinking about the rotation back towards aim. So they're going to start rewalking secret and going into main.
No one's watching the heaven or from heaven position. Clax. Block is turned in for a wraparound, which is coming in as well for Alv. Will clear this all out, and they might think it's going to be quick and simple B execution maneuver. They've still got more presence upstairs. Here, Salazar sees 2, takes them down. 2 versus 3, making it 1 now as Alv constructed that backstab, and RaddyX once again left to clutches. So many clutches having to come in from this young man. Bombs on his back, and Alv is low on 1 point of health. The concern is going to be Karnez. Now down in the vent, they're going to get checked for. RaddyX doesn't get away with that kill, but neither does Karnez. He taps him up. RaddyX takes him down. 1 HP for Alv to clutch it now. And the 1 versus 1, which can easily go the way of the Turkish player. He'll plant that bomb, prioritize that cash injection, but can he win the round outright? He's opened up Decon, and he's going to swing his way at the wrong moment. Does look back in time, and does take a triple to secure another pistol clutch for Sangal.
Well done from Sangal, and well done to get the clutch forward. And Cypher got a cracking entry to be able to scale out on the outside yard. I think it's a bit of a shame that not more is being generated from the round victory of Salazar and Alv. They put in such a shift out here from the door, and it's a 1v3 that goes their way. Now, I think the clutches were very pivotal out there on the comeback of map number 1. It might have to be the same thing on Nuke. We might have to see quite a few clutches being won for Sangal if they want to try and turn this into a third map decider.
Well, I very nearly gave them that entire second half and nearly the round and map steal outright. Forced buy-in this time from the Ursa camp, and Clax going to deal with it majoritively well. 2 mat 10 casualties. Salazar and Karnez also taking damage out elsewhere. The 2-for-1 trades favouring the T side. Bomb can now look to commit down into that B bomb site. You've got rotations of Karnez at half HP. Needs to get at least 1 kill out of it. Unable to do so. Cypher takes him down. Bomb plant to be secured. Alv and Salazar, not much more that they can do from here.
Well, unfortunately, not only does Klax put up a lot of damage, but he stalls for so much time. He's still fighting them lobby when everybody else in Sangal is starting to accelerate outside. Anytime you know a lobby crunch is coming, as soon as you can get yourself in the notion, you want to start taking space towards Secret. You want to try and get down towards B. And you can see how late the rotation was. Karnez was basically coming out of ramp as they're coming through from the double doors. So it's an easy second round. You will have a couple of SMGs being saved forward, so you can have a limited half buy in the next. But this is the start that Sangal are looking for, and still picking quite a lot of Nuke, even though Prime Tap has only been in the lineup for about a month now, even though they don't have a fifth player. Nuke has now been picked for the 9th time in the last 3 months on HLTV, just behind Mirage, up at 12.
Well, Sang off to the start here on their map pick. A little under half their pick percentage. Cypher hears him coming, not quite able to adjust actually. Salazar just storms it up and takes him down. A shell-shocking moment there for the Brit. 1 or 2 SMGs in play, of course upgrade pistols, mostly an eco around it though. A number of players downstairs though, they are actually completely ready to deal with these individuals here. SMG is coming in, Radiac's going to get caught by 4X. Okay, now it's time to be a little bit concerned. Bomb plant should be tapped out, not going to be secured. They're hunting for more of these casualties. They're going to group them and move together into decon. And they're going to give them space here on CT.
Well, they know they can't get the bomb down, so we just need to keep scaling for space, keep fighting, keep getting territory. Now, Karnez should be able to at least get one if there's a rotation from them down on lower, up from the vent to A.
Down the vent though, all soon. Prime taps him in the side of the head, looks in for Patsy next up. Lands a shoulder shot there. And now the bomb carrier is being pressured. Players coming inbound from double doors. Alv and Karnez clean them up. And that is a massive steal from Ursa. Didn't even need to invest that much.
No, that's a very good round victory. And it's one that can start crippling the economy of the opposition post-reset. And they came into that round with a gamble stat mindset, and after the aggressive approach on the outside, they didn't really shift rotations. They kept a lot of players down there on B, and they can still use it as a heavy bonus. Keep those 2 MP9s, get an AWP up, have the 2 Galils. And for Sangal, they will get themselves a good investment there, but there's definitely going to be pressure on after losing an eco like that.
You can see how the buy limitations will start to form cracks in the offensive line. Clacks down with Galil now. And well with the Mat 10 when he brought it out, but Ursa want to completely destroy the Sangal advantage and then take an advantage back of their own right. Knowing how important these advantages have been towards the Ursa camp, but loss right here and now would mean bad things for them. Karnez unable to win the fights on the Cypher still. Once again towards outside, Ego's falling. Prime taps can take down Salazar inside. Jo tagged. Alv not really in position to do much on the defensive. Bomb plant will be secured, open towards the mini entrance, and it seems like the CTs are going to start to fall away and save their weapons from here. And got a decent amount of cash to return to in the next round. The buy will be solid. It's a fantastic response from Sangal.
Well, we're just getting 2 whiffs on the outside. Cypher just dueling with Karnez. It looks a bit uncomfortable for the 2 of them. And then you've got 1 player defending A, which is always very difficult. They were stacked up quite heavily with the rotation down from vent and towards ramp. Patsy even getting boosted up into heaven, kills off Jo, so makes that round more expensive. And it's a bit of a shame that Salazar as the anchor doesn't have an M4. I think if he has an M4 rather than an MP9, he probably does more after he drops that incendiary. But that's a very good response in from Sangal.
They didn't even buy any M4s in that round in general. They kept 2 Galils, 2 MP9s, and the AWP that was bought by Alv. It means that the buy, again, will be solidified for the Ursa side, and a lot more in that fragging department. 3 M4s this time, with the Galil staying in for 4X. going to upgrade Plax's Galil either, not just enough cash to do so and keep the utility in play for him. More centered around the indoors lobby position on the default. Cypher again on outside, will be solo this time. Got some utility support from his teammates. Smoke down towards the mini entrance, and diags will come in eventually. No gap in those diags for now. The third one will look to line up. Cypher will be covered into the garage here.
They're just given a lot of freedom right now. There was a player out there to the AC in the last round, and the exact same position is being held again.
Cypher just jumped, giving up his position, still gets the headshot together. Alv unable to go for the responsive. Jo is going to at least put down Cypher. Meanwhile, Primetaps has taken one back down towards the Hell entrance, and the B-site siege is underway for Sangal. Primetaps is low. Forex going to try and look for that trade, and he gets Radiated instead. Patsy in the corner, fought well. Patsy gets his kill, but Primetaps falls on the site. 2v2 with that bomb getting dropped. HE's being sent close. Flashbang's going to try and keep him blinded and stall out for a little bit. Time for that Galil to close in. Double doors are open. Patsy's got a line into the bomb site. Not so much for the decon angle. Klat's going to have to open that up and give away the position. Jo seen beyond that smoke as the bullets clear it away, and Salazar stands alone. 1 versus 2. Fought well on the first man. Second one unknown about here. Damage being done heavily to the CT player, and Sangal can escape with the 4th. That's
another clutch being won there from Sangal. So 2 in the 4 rounds that have been converted by them. Patsy just about gets away with that one, and well, Cypher at the moment is just basically being told, work outside. We'll generate the smokes for you. It doesn't matter if we're doing 1, 2, 3, we're doing diags, we're doing garage cross, just duel. And he's doing very well to consistently get opening picks. Salazar was expecting Patsy to come in from the glass rather than down from underneath at the double doors. Another reinvestment comes forward, but considering that was a 5v3 quite early in the round, I think Ursa could be quite happy with the damage they did in that last.
They'll combine into this one with it, and Alv can take the opening kill on outside, this time towards Patsy on top of Silo. Kill gets found, barely a headshot seen in that corner. Cypher spraying blindly, hoping that the Orpa tried to escape, but he's going to stick around past red box, and Radix is going to potentially give up the bombs position towards him. HE's sent. Klats gets caught. Radix with that trade. Trade back from Alv, not ready for Cypher. Cypher can respond back. Still a 3-on-2 that favors Ursa here, though.
Karnes could get caught repositioning. You've got Primetaps that's trying to work a timing, and Jo is calling that lobby is completely clear. Now, they might be able to get a wrap on Cypher on the outside. The problem that Jo is going to find is he's only got a Mach 10, so long range is never ideal with this weapon. At least he'll get bomb control.
And they'll still search for Elder contacts, Primetaps in particular. Seeing the likes of Karnes tapping his head. Now Jo has been revealed and is going to go to longer range weapons, that AWP, to try and deal with Cypher here. 40 seconds for the 2v2 to ensue for Sangal to get these kills above all else. There's no chance of the bomb plant here, obviously. They're just suppressing them here with smokes.
They just try and waste as much time as possible. Might not expect the Silo player either.
It's going to be seen now, Salazar taking Cypher. Molotov revealing where Primetaps is, and all they have to do is stay hidden. Another smoke comes out. The HE to try and reveal. Orpa unscoped. Dips out of the way regardless. Primetaps leans up and goes down. And Ursa can punish Sangal here.
Well, we get that reset, and now the buy state does not look great. Yes, Patsy's got a lot of cash, but everybody else is extremely limited, so they'll have to buy it up anyway. And that's just Alv being a playmaker on the outside. Cypher and Primetaps doing their very best, but Jo, the coach, gets away with 2 and closes the round down.
I'll see the awkwardness of this investment still featuring 2 AKs and 2 Galils. Up against the full gambit of rifles on the part of Ursa. Sangal. Opportunities abound for their opposition. Slide down this time, committing 2 players outside. Cypher with the Galil. Supported by Patsy. Smokes the red box crosses should allow some access towards the secret control in the B tunnels. Alv is set with the AWP and 2 M4s firing away. Give away their own positions. They try and look for the blind kills and shots and damage, and they will connect someone towards Cypher. But Alv is the big concern down here. When does he receive contact? Right about now, it looks like Patsy. Cypher jumps in and gets taken clean out.
This is where Patsy's desperate for the trade because the buy state's so weak. The problem is you're just giving more and more control to the Orpa. Now, the players on A have not been able to work a timing either. They've not been able to get out hut. They've not been able to get outdoor. And even an off angle is being held from Jo holding this position.
Flash forward, Jo, uncontested. They're prioritising going down into the vent dive, so not even looking for that kill. Radix is going to catch off the AWP that's dropped by Alv. Turn it in towards Carnes with a stunning shot that turns the man advantage back on his head. Two players all over the T side, though. Klax is here to cut the rotations, and inbound from lobby goes one player. Jo will not check this corner, and in fact, they start to call in the retreat. They start to call in the save as he dips back in towards the ramp entrance. Eventually, he will get taken down, and now they have to save.
Carnes is just in the open there. It's very much a hesitation move. Now, as soon as they drop Ven and you hear them running down secret, he's got to make a decision of either playing passive ramp or committing into the bomb site, dropping down in towards dark, or trying to get out towards glass. And he's just picked neither of the two. He sat out there. It's an easy kill for anyone that's swinging wide. It doesn't matter if it was going to be an AK or whether it was going to be an AWP. Ursa had such a good start into the round. You had Alf getting an opening kill and a tag, and yet they cannot be able to string a couple of rounds together. I mean, that flash timing out from door was perfect to drop Ven, but yeah, they'll be disappointed with that.
Great individual moments from the Sangal side, denying the chance for Ursa to limit their potential. The buy states have been limited at times. It hasn't always stopped them. And these rounds coming in as individuals for the CT side. One at round 3. One at round 6. 4x start things off, taken back by Patsy quickly. The M4 Salazar trying to return as part of the 2 rifle pack. Jo is going to fall in the meantime. The Klax beyond the smoke to squeaky door. Bomb can commit towards the A site. Radix could get pressured a little bit, and indeed he's missing some shots, so CTs will try to swarm around it. He will connect onto Carnes, but now should get taken aback by the USP. In fact, Tech9 is pulled out. It's the M4 of Valve that will take him. They have an AWP to hold into the next round if they can try and get away with it. Don't see a retake forming for these two players, though.
No, nothing in this one at all. And I think this is sometimes where Nuke can be a bit uncomfortable for a team that don't play it frequently, don't win it very frequently, is that if you go on the CT side and let's say you lose pistol, but then get yourself a gun round and get reset, you just have economy trouble. And I think what we saw was what they lost round 1 and 2, won the 3rd, then lost the follow-up. You then give another couple of rounds over to the opposition, you win your 2nd round, and then you get reset again. We have seen so many gun rounds here from Ursa where there's a FAMAS out, there's an MP9 out. We've not seen many rounds where they've had 4 M4s and an AWP, and then already you're 2-6 down. So you probably feel the threat of a 2-0 has disappeared from this point.
Sangal getting comfortable on these two sides. Scored 6 in a row to nearly negate all the threat that was maintained on that Dust 2 for Ursa's part. 4x going to take down Patsy. Jo was close to contact over at Squeak. He's going to get out of the way. Tagged low. 4x also taking a shot of his own right. Cypher's tagged to 20 points of health, so a bit more promise to presenting towards Ursa in this round.
It's every time they've got aggressive outside, they've been successful. It's been the one portion of the map from Ursa where they've been working 5v4s.
Perhaps would have heard that drop off. Salazar. HE goes deep. Prime Taps does not take that chance to swing, so Klax just gets damaged up. He gets away from that corner, concealing information, but also missing out on a bunch of it himself. A minute to play with the Sangal. Continue to work the inside default. Cypher continues to try and play outside. Carnes continues to hold in from ramp. And Klax and Radix are still going to try and look for that as an option.
But they're waiting for a contact play. AWP misses. Cypher on the outside's got to make something happen now. The tough thing is you've got to do it with an M4A1S and 20 HP. It's nearly impossible.
JR finds Prime Taps down to 3 men. 30 seconds on the clock. Cypher now looks to enter into this mini position. Jo looks the wrong way at the wrong time. Salazar now back sight with the hopes and dreams of the CT forces. Klax enters in as well. Cypher gets caught by 4x. Salazar with 1, Radix with a no-scope back close range, but now he's got 3 men to deal with on the 1 versus 3. No time to work with. Alv will take him. It's the 3rd for Ursa.
They tried to see if they could pressurize the A bomb site, because I think the weak link at the moment is probably A. Jayo's not playing particularly well. You've also got Salazar that's not multi-fragging very frequently from the backside. So a lot of pressurizing A in these gun rounds, and that's one where they've got the vent player rotating up to smoke off door, so you just block for a lot of time. And then the extremity lurkers. Cypher didn't really get anything on the outside. Yeah, AWP that was scaling ramp also didn't find anything. So you end aim, you go into the mincer. And Ursa have got to try and get a round streak. Got to try and make this a 6-6 half if they can.
Jayo and Klax taking damage. In the end, Klax are going to fall outright towards the captain, so Coach stepping up well enough. Cypher again with the through smoke entries. Prime taps to follow it up as well over at the vent. Jayo's going to fall as he tries to rotate in towards that B play. And that sequence, that kill from Prime taps has already opened up the avenue for the bomb to get planted. They are inbound towards the entryways though. The bomb's been seen close towards the double doors. Cypher gets another kill on Salazar. Kane sees them both, nearly lines them up. And Radix all get taken aback. Prime taps is good for that trade. 1v3 now for Al, the Orpa, with so many low HP players to deal with. Missing that shot first up. Secondary players inbound from range and up close. Prime taps credited with that final kill. Had support from Cypher and Patsy combined. The 7th to the board of Sangal. They now have the half.
And unfortunately, when you compare what happened in the Big Academy series yesterday for Ursa and how they were able to 2-0 Ecstatic earlier this morning, Karnes is just nowhere near to be seen. I mean, he's 3-8 out here on Nuke. He went, what, 15-17 on map number 1. When you've got a guy that was the highest rated player of the tournament coming into this best of 3, you've got to be someone that's hitting hard. You've got to be someone that's creating multis, allowing rounds to flow. Right now, he's a shell of himself.
Been carried on across the entire day as well. Just looking back at his stats as well to both that Ecstatic series and the Astral matchup, it hasn't exactly been the most stellar of days from him. Tactical timeouts getting called in by Ursa to try and figure out how they get the approach together, because this is teetering on the edge of a 9-3 half and not quite as amazing as 10-2 as it was on Dust 2, but for Sangal it would just be a nice handy return of the favour towards Ursa.
Just constantly being reset is always difficult. The buy states have looked rubbish. At least Alv is getting an AWP up, and well, the thing is, he keeps going outside in these weaker buys and getting a pick silo, getting a pick T-Red. But you just can't do that every single time, otherwise you're going to get nade stacked, they're going to be pre-firing you. Salazar trying to flash towards door early, but no contention there from Klax. He's a lot more passive in lobby.
Cypher just walks his way past these smokes. Noise being made by his teammates over a mini to pull attention towards the A-site play as opposed to the real hit coming in. Now they are making noise. The intervals outside more Parliament. Cypher go for that one kill. Not ready for 4x. Who gets one kill out of it. Patsy with a decent return. 3-on-3 scenario established. The pistols and the downgrades have still managed to do something here for Ursa.
Well, Salazar's worried because he's solo A. Jo can't move off of that box towards ramp, and the NWP can't really move off of secret. So Salazar is thinking, I need to defend main, hut, and door at the same time, and potentially even heaven. So this is very difficult. If there is any A split from Sangal, there's no contest. Salazar will just get overwhelmed.
Jayo's going to try and make those moves, though. He has dropped off the box. And no one's watching the trophy room. Clack's going to get seen. Tapped up. AWP quickly returns the favour. Reduces the pressure of Salazar a little bit with that 1-for-1. 2v2, and he starts to make moves of his own. And he timed as well against Radix. It looks like he might just do. Rifle to get gained. AK picked up. The flank angle is perfect. The timing could also be pretty nice. It's an open plant. Is Patsy going to watch for it? He better do so. Engage. Salazar! What a transfer that is! As he just about holds the retake in for Ursa. Slow but sure, it's a steal.
And it's a very scrappy round from Ursa there. You've got Jo coming in from lobby. Salazar also going in. He's expecting the bomb to go down safe and then the other player to be up there in heaven, so he's not even pre-aiming Patsy correctly. But he adjusts the crosshair and continues the spam. That's a very good steal coming through from Ursa, but they are still yet to string rounds together.
All but individually based. Is their chance to go on a true streak, a small streak, but a streak nonetheless here for the CT side. Close out on the last moment of this opening half, a 7-5. And be their best case scenario at the down scoreline. Sangal going for an 8-4. Valve. Outside Cypher's just been seen at the end of that smoke. Forex expecting him to have ran his way past the cross, and he's not been seen. They know he must be at red now. He's staggering his approach to avoid that information being given up. He will make his way towards secret eventually. The CT just backing away to try and adjust towards that strategy. Patsy is still playing on top of Mini. Forex can't catch his man.
You're just being forced away. There's going to be some door util in from Klax and potentially some aggression in from Hut too.
Dive out, M4 engaged, Patsy wins that, Salazar trades it, Prime Taps gets involved alongside Radix and that Galil. Salazar's fallen, Alv and Karnes 2v4, so separated from each other. From Heaven, one can come in from ramp soon enough. I mean, Karnes is still wary that something else is going on here, but the bomb plant has been secured. Making a lot of noise to his rotation room as well, so they'll be suspecting Heaven as an angle. Have to go for the retake here. No chances to save. Flash is coming in. Al going to push forward to that smoke. I thought he hit that no-scope for a second. Karnes lands it instead. Al with one of his own, but he doesn't go much further. Prime Taps holds the back line and holds the round together. An 8-4 advantage for Sangal as they take that hold of their map pick. It looks like Nuke may still be going their way. Contrary to Dust 2, Sangal are the ones in control. An excellent 8-4 on the T side. And earlier on, Blake, you said that the threat of the 2-0 on Ursa seems to have disappeared with only so much being gained on the CT basis. To me, it does feel like this is ripe for a quick one-sided return in the Sangal.
Yeah, I back that completely. I think that was a pretty average to poor performance from Ursa in the first half. They got lucky in a couple of rounds with lower investments and were able to set themselves up, but never committed to that finishing blow of stringing rounds in a row, putting pressure on the economy of their opposition. And for Sangal, yeah, this should be a pretty quick end to the second half now.
Makes you wonder if the 2-0 could have been easily on for them. Instead, they went down to 11-13 on the first map up, almost brought the full-on comeback to steal away Dust 2, and instead, all this map will do is force us to a third of Mirage. So even with this Nuke victory, they wouldn't be out of the woods just yet. It would, however, be a statement to return in this best of 3. Pistols live for the second half. Sangal play against the outside plays of 4x. He can get that 1 kill in from Cypher. Al with a returning frag, doubling up on his part. Karnez also finding Patsy indoors in the meantime. 4 versus 2 established. Ursa now on with that bomb plan. Will secure it pretty nicely. Radix caught by Karnez next. And the fast pace of Ursa getting right in the faces of the opposition, leaving Sangal with not much more to do in the pistol round.
And that's got to be the best individual sequence I've seen from Karnez, maybe in the all best of 3, which is crazy to think. I really just haven't seen many multi-frags from him. That's a difficult round for him to work because we always know Julies are very successful on pistol, especially if they're holding close range positions. Now, for the Julies to be sitting top heart, I'm probably expecting 2, maybe 2.5 kills to come from there, just with a straight spam, tapping mouse 1, and he walks out with a Glock and just instantly gets clacks, just gets that entry straight away. Follows up with the multi. So for Ursa, look, they survive for a little bit. I think for Sangal, once they get onto the gun rounds, that's where they'll show a little bit more quality and a lot more depth than the opposition.
Second pistol of the series, one out here by the Ursa camp. Sangal splitting the spoils there and taking an immediate tactical timeout as well off the back of that pistol loss. So forcing the issue into the second. They want to try and counter steal. For Ursa, this could be a chance to close that gap almost entirely. The rifle states will be better. There'll be no investment in the next one for Sangal, so they are putting their eggs in one basket here.
And even though there has been a lot of trouble across this year with the iteration of the lineup players coming and going, they've still kept a solid core staff of coaching, right? You've got Yumpy as the head coach, you've got Tugux as the assistant coach. It's always a bad sign when, let's say, background staff are coming and going, because that tells you there's maybe not a huge amount of faith in the project. But they've stayed here and they're trying to drill the team and the players that they've got forward. Now, you'd expect an opening kill is going to be key. And now, it's very difficult to do on 4 spies on Nuke because extensions can only really be taken on the outside or from lobby crunchers. Now, Prime Taps, because of the instant diag smokes, is just going to rotate down from the vent and spot out Secret.
Now nated down to 68 HP. 4x is the man that leads them on the outside, though. The bomb's on the back of Alv. 2 men down in the corridors. They are expecting there to be some sort of outside secret default in play. No one to watch out the ramp control. And that bomb is pretty much committed at this stage on the outside. Flashing against Patsy. He's going to give Cypher exposed, giving the 5-7 a chance to get his kill together. Now Patsy's going to get pressure. Molotov down here, forced to fight, and eventually will look to lose his life. Clax has fallen in the meantime. Patsy, eventually the Molotov will spread towards him, and Alv will get credited with that kill. Radix and Prime Taps both will be seen down here at Secret. They'll combine to get that casualty. The bomb will not get dropped. Salazar now been seen, but he's taken down the Dinker. Prime Taps will take a second one on the man as well. And Radix will fall also just as quickly. 6 to the board of Ursa. And Sangal suffer with an eco and a single round advantage by the time it's over.
Yeah, unfortunately for Patsy, as soon as he struck with that first kill, you're never going to get another one, are you? Doesn't matter how much spam or mollies are coming in against you, you are just trapped completely. So, difficult round there from Sangal to work the outside. Wasn't successful for them, and now the difference is only 2 and about to be 1. You'd expect a lack of pace to come in this round from Ursa. Keep it slow, don't run into any trap.
Well, Daxter's the Eagle's going to get Karnez down, so that's 1 pick to find. Radix on the outside of 4x, doubling up, eventually comes through against Patsy. Drive-bys that do damage towards both him and Salazar, but not much else to be seen outside of that HP bar. An advantage sits with Ursa. Prime Taps is looking for some similar 1-taps of his own. We saw those Deagle steals over on Dust 2. A chance to do so here on this map up. Alv will take down Prime Taps next. The advantage, the man advantage, extends even more so.
And for Sangal, it's not only very key for the survival of the roster to win this map, but to also just try and make this a winnable series, because I know you spoke about it earlier, Jay. One win out of your past 6 best-of-3s on HLTV is not a good record, and then when you look even further and see that you've lost to Nemesis and Omega on LAN, and then you've lost to Zaj and X0 Tenacity online, you just think, nah, this is not on. We need to start getting some wins. We need to start beating teams like an Ursa, who's got their coach standing in today. We put in a good fight and a good shift on a comeback of map number 1. We've put in a good performance in the first half of our map pick. Let's close Nuke. Let's go on to Mirage. Let's make sure we have a decider.
I mean, to go even further than just the recent form of the last 6 best-of-3s, they've won 7 out of their last 20 best-of-3s, just to really highlight how dire things have been. A lot of ranking points dipped out for them. I can tell you, HLTV had Sangal at 125th in the world as of this morning, down from 80 on the official GitHub from the start of the month. So they have really lost a massive amount of space in the Tier 2 and Tier 3 landscape.
Well, consider where the organisation was not even 18 months ago, when they had the, xCloud, LNZ youngster lineup. Mate, they were 14th in the world right now. I think when you sell that team off and you sell the core and you try and rebuild again, especially with Danist and Nori and Resol, your perspective should be at a bare minimum top 30 to 40. Like, that's a realistic goal with those kind of players. To now see the lineup being broken apart and then you slipping outside of the top 100, it feels as if the organization's just not been able to hold the pedigree of players.
And the move to bring in like Cypher is the move to try and keep that pedigree together. Maybe we'll find out again if it's a permanent move in the near future. For now, up to their rifles on round 16. The AWP of RadX is going to be a little bit late to the party with that HE revealing a 4x, but unable to get the angle against him. It's damage done by the riflers instead. And RadX can actually get caught off guard with the blind spot over towards the garage entrance. If 4x strikes at the moment, then he'll get an easy kill.
Yeah, this is all timing right now. Karnes is making noise, so that main player from Patsy probably not even thinking about the garage lurk right now.
The AWP will eventually fall off a Heaven control. We'll get back up there to try to support the A defensive because Skylight has been opened up. Telegraphing an upper site execution. Fine taps. Corner a trophy. Salazar has his crosshair trained right on it. Smoke will start to clear, and he looks away at the wrong moment. Patsy will get that kill. Prime taps his return upon. RadixX's AWP's repositioned now towards this ramp control now. Seeing players jumping up, can't transition towards Salazar, so he maintains that 3-on-3. Rotations are coming in from Cypher, but back through the vent means he hasn't got access to the bomb site right now. Open decon, see them all, and get nothing for his trouble.
And now Joe needs to take the space out here towards the double doors, make sure that there's security of getting this bomb down.
Patsy going to check for him, win that fight out, lose little HP in doing so. Salazar on half. And there's no kit on either Klax or Patsy. AWP is watching against the decon doorway, closed out by the backline player. The AWP probably not revealed as of yet, but Klax going to catch Salazar when he opens the jump face. Now gets the information they're looking for. Alv's going to get surrounded, but still hits Patsy on the no-scope. The HE misses as well. Klax needs to force him out. That HE still not able to get the casualty. Klax still hasn't got a kit either. Alv going to try and force him out by jump facing, showing presence, but had his utility pulled instead. Klax will get that kill, but has he got the time for it as well? It will be close, but it will be his.
That's another clutch, and it's crazy to think that they've won 3 clutches on Nuke and they're only leading by 2 rounds. And normally in MR12, you win 2 or 3 clutches, and that's probably enough to be able to get the game wrapped up easily. Oh, that comes down to a 5 margin. Jo will be disappointed there at double doors to not catch off 1. And then the AWP from Alv tries his very best. He's just trying to spot. He's not even trying to commit to a fight there.
Sangal on the board in the second half. Took a great effort because Ursa all over them for the majority of that round. Some good trades going their way eventually. Smokes now for Cypher to block off the squeaky door, which has already been opened up with the nades. Klax will defend that position. Patsy going to watch from the back lines of the site. Outside's covered by the AWP, but it's an indoor execution from the rooftops.
You've got a default molly being lined up from Alv, but I think it's going to be a double pump. I don't think they're going to commit off of this straight away.
Smokes and flashes towards outside. They're going to rush one player back down. Klax going to try to get out of the way, but he's flash blinded, as to his teammate. Karnez fights well. Klax will go falling. Patsy with one trade. Secondary player has been seen, but he's been dinged down. He's back up to get here quick, and the FAMAS hasn't got the stopping power or the HP to maintain from heaven. Cypher's Claw elevating through the vents. Radiax can get one trade back of the AWP, but 3-on-2 post plant favourable towards the T side. Radix is desperately looking for a player worth a trade. That HE will land pretty close and do chunky damage on Karnez. Less so to Alv, but neither man will fall. And again, no kit. Again, without money advantages here for the CT side. They might have to look for exit and call in the save as Ursa. Now they're the ones on the streaks. And Sangal. And they're the ones taking individual rounds. A single one scored on the CT side.
Well, it's a very clever pocket strat coming through from JO. So they know that the CT economy is not going to be great because Klax only won a clutch previously. So they're not going to have the best of anti-rush util, and they're not going to have the best of weapons anyway. Now, it could get expensive in the end here from prime taps. Shame he doesn't get all of them. But it was a very good call there to go for something quite chaotic. Split heavy into the A bomb site, a lot of flashes. And I'd honestly believe, even though JO's been retired for a year, even though he is a coach, I think he's a better in-game leader than Patsy, only because, well, what's Patsy really shown? He's not even been an in-game leader across the majority of his career. He did a little bit of in-game leading on Aurora and Astrum, but he wasn't an IGL on Liquid, wasn't an IGL on Paravision, didn't do it on Spirit. So this is only a new position for him, a new role in his career.
Only recently has come to pass for him. Quick out of the gate for the T-side line. Primetat's going to get pressured as the force buy, half buy kind of round is inbound here for the CT forces. The upgrade pistols are going to try and keep composure. 4X and Karnez accelerating into that B bomb site and will overwhelm all presence that's there. Klax and Radix 2v5 to maintain here. The AWPA is down towards Decon. The bomb has committed to the site. Radix going to fall quickly to Salazar, so bomb plant coming when they're looking for it. Klaxer is looking for the exit frag, some bonus cash on the MP9, and I'll take some weapons away from the T's if possible. Almost certainly will not be winning the round. It'd take an absolute miracle for that to happen here.
But considering the investment, they really haven't been happy with the outcome here. They've got nothing. They stacked up quite heavily towards ramp. They just got completely beaten by pace. And it's funny, because I think the majority of rounds in the first half from Sangal, it was let Cypher work the outside, have slow control. And yet we've now come into the second half, and we're getting so many more pace changes, aren't we? We're getting fast plays, we're getting slow defaults. Klax is trying his very best to make it expensive, but he only gets away with one. So we're definitely seeing a lot more creativity from JO in this second half.
It's come so far as to even up that board now. Sangal mitigated the threat of a 2-0. Ursa may have brought it right back. Rifles in full for both sides. Limited utility sets for the CTs, though. And the half buy didn't feel like it should have impacted the buy too much, but it has. 4X leans up towards the outside with his teammate right behind him as well. AWP of Radix is wary of the vent control and needs to look back towards Secret Land. That first shot, player in the open as well. Seeing the second shot, but it dips back in for seconds, and Karnez will take the trade.
Just constant moving there from the AWPA rather than stabilizing in for the secondary shot. Prime Taps needs to get one. Can't afford to get overwhelmed. It's a very good trade, and Karnez has been able to get a lurk kill too.
3-on-2 as a result. Alv was dinked down by that player over at ramp, however.
Great timing this.
Oh, not able to find Karnez, who strikes down a triple. Now Cypher stands alone. HE's off, so he can't get a casualty on the low speed player that's out there. He's going to charge down ramp, will be heard. AK engaged. M4 transition to the first, but cannot adjust towards the second. And Alv can take that shot back. Karnez with the triple has started to turn up the heat at last. Very quiet series out of him. Even now still negative, but triple in the round. And on T side, he's starting to get spooled up, gets the lead advantage for Ursa now.
As soon as it's a 3v2 and he gets into Garage, you know that he's won that round. Because even if he doesn't strike with that kill straight away from Klax, he gets options, doesn't he? He can go out there towards lockers, he can go ramp, he can go heaven. It's just such a good position in a late round. And Sangal have won a single round in this second half that was a 1v1 clutch from Klax. in which the opposition didn't even try and fight him in the clutch. Only thing Alf was doing was trying to spot for info, just trying to see if he was on the bomb or not. This has been a very good T-side. They've locked in. They've really started to pull ahead now.
They have re-established a threat. It's game on. And pistols from us is all they can afford. A half buy again for Sangal there. I'm going to play this one down to the wire once again, try and get the true buys together, but it does mean that Ursa are going to pull up to 11-9. 2 to the good, 2 to the win. Very similar stuff to how the last map up ended, except it might not be the shutdown from the leaders. It might be that comeback from the Ursa camp. Cypher wins out the opening duel. 4x down.
You've still got a player out here towards a silo, and Cypher just taps him. It's a very good strike. They still need to turn this into a round victory, though.
These entries have been wonderful today, haven't they? On this occasion, turns an SMG to an AK to a double. And they could be on to counter steal here. Ursa stolen rounds from Sangal's side so far in this matchup. Only be fitting they could have returned the favour. Radix out of ramp. 5-7 caught off the looking the wrong way. Exposed on all sides. Now they can spread to maintain all that ramp control. B would be the target, and there's no one there to defend it right now. Cypher be the only rotator available.
They're being very cautious. They know that there could be a stack. Not a huge amount of time to work with, but Salazar is trying to clear up as much of this bottom ramp position as possible. Now, rotates from the vent can be quite quick from Patsy. You'd expect that they're going to plant in their own smoke here at Lower.
But let's find down all the double doors. And plant down for Old Toxic. Prime Tap's going to get caught by JO, so we're back to a 3-on-3. Klaxon that for Mars. JO caught looking the wrong way. Leans back in with the challenge. Alv gets his kill, and Klax is put back down. It's all on Cypher now. Started this round, has to end it. Or does he want to save that AK for the true buy? And that might be the better call to make. Double doors open by the smokes. He tries to fight Salazar. Takes him in an instant and gives him no chance to do any more. So, impressive start. Not much else seen by Sangal in that round. The rifles will be seen by them here in this one, though. Ursa on to try and nip it in the bud at the very last moment of this matchup. Sangal need to win this one.
And that's really just not good enough. You've got rifles to work with in that last round. You've got 4 players with Kevlar and a 5v3, and then no one gets a single kill from that point onwards. Not on. Sangal pay the price for not converting that one. And Ursa, I mean, it's just starting to get quicker and quicker on this T side. We're now seeing them heavily take the outside, not even really leaving a lobby alert. Jo is the only player there.
Patsy trying to engage. 4x will take him down. Advantage once again. The opening starting to go their way. True to the favour of the T side. Cypher just blindly spraying, desperate to get something back on the CT squad, be unable to do anything there. Prime Tabs lines up too. Karnes and Alva caught on the outside, so that provides something. Have a lucky moment, and seems like it. Salazar instantly takes back control.
They just silenced him, and they just freeze. I really like this 3v2. They've got so much time on the clock. They've got a lurk inner, 2 players outside. Just give yourself 20 seconds of breather. They will peek. They will make an info play, and we're already seeing Klax do that in lobby.
Press the aggression fight
easy.
on JO. JO wins it. Up from the ladder, top of the roof, the kill comes in. The AWPs and a 1 versus 3. Another clutch for Radix to try and win, unfortunately. This is the worst circumstances to be in 1-4. Bomb plant will come down upper and clear out the bomb site. And you're kind of in a do or die situation, a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation as well for Radix. AWP not great for this retake. No kit in play. No money for the next round buy, but And try and go for it. A miracle moment out of him has happened a couple of times over so far in this matchup. Let's see for one more. First pickups found a lobby. He spotted eyes on the bomb. But now no info on the rest of the players here. He's going to check out the top end of the hut. Look up. No scope doesn't connect. And Salazar will win out the counter engagement. 12-9. It's map and series point for Ursa. Sangal have scored 1 on CT side of Nuke. And what was looking like it was going to be a simple denial of the 2-0 has not come to pass.
It's just textbook there from Jo. This is an experienced tier 2 in-game leader who just recognizes 3v2, just literally sit there and do nothing. And I think it's quite funny, Jay, because in CS, we always talk, especially in CS2, about how much you need to move, right? Especially in fights, you're always ADing, you're never standing still. But yet right there, we had about 25, 30 seconds of a legitimate freeze in which no one on the T side is doing anything. And that's discipline, right? That's a well-structured team. It doesn't matter if Ursa have Xiaofi or they've got Jo. From the games that I've witnessed from them, they play by the book CS. Now, they can be a bit gimmicky and a bit crazy, and I think we've seen that with the pace changing in some of this T side. But how good they looked in a lot of the post plants on Dust 2 and the post plants that we're seeing here on Nuke, that they do play textbook CS.
Three that are good. Jo strikes the first man down. At least the Molotov of Cypher can take it from beyond the grave. Klax is once again pushing the issue. Flashes forward for 4x. Going to try and get involved here. Klax will try and take an angle. He takes a fight but misses out entirely. Radix is good for one trade back on the side defensive. Needs to get a second. Not going to happen. 4x removes him. AWP watching heaven. Connects it. Prime taps falls. And in a matter of moments, it's all come undone for Sangal. 30 seconds and the round is over. There's nothing the Patsy can do to deny. 13-9 and Ursa indeed eventually find their 2-0 series to progress to the round of 16 and send Sangal to the lower bracket of ECL.
Well, it's a very good matchup and a very good result coming out there from Ursa. They go into the next round on Thursday, taking on Los Gigitos, a team that is fairly known in Tier 2, right? In some of the lower-end fields. I think that we saw in the BC Game Masters Season 1 tournament about 2 weeks ago, they were able to get a 2-1 win over them, flattened them on Dust 2 and Mirage. So this for Ursa could potentially be a bit of a deep run. I'm looking at the next few rounds that they've got and thinking, I don't know if they're going to lose. This is definitely on to try and farm a lot of VRS points and make something out of this tournament.
I mean, it does feel like it's high potential. The next few rounds will feature some teams that might give them a little bit of a run for their money if they can make it into the quarterfinals specifically. I'm not sure how I feel about the polls in the next
well, they should beat the polls, and then the other side of the bracket they've got after that is going to be what? Unity, Minlay, or Sixers Musketeers. Mate, that's an upper bracket semi-final run just there and alone.
It does feel like it's high potential for us with the way that they're playing at the moment. I mean, again, the tactics seem like they were there. Even though you didn't have those hard-hitting moments from Carnage, you still felt like you had a team that was able to outclass it in moments, right? You still had players like Alv, who was giving it with the AWP, players like Salazar, who was top fragger of the server in that last map-up. And so in general, I'm taking a look at the situation for the bracket and say, yeah, there is a lot available towards them at this moment in time because there is potential to see where they can go on the Ursa side. Unfortunately for Sangal, they're going down to the lower bracket in that first round, and they're going to have to try and go back to the drawing board in terms of the run itself. Obviously, with the lineup being where it is, I don't know how to feel about them at this stage because there were some moments in this matchup where I did feel that there was high potential. The T side especially looked pretty proficient on both Nuke and Dust 2. The CT side letdowns, though, from key mistakes. They've got a lot to work on, I'd say.
Yeah, they do, and I don't know if they've got the players to do it. I think with this one best of 3, nothing really caught my eye. There were some okay moments, but I'm not impressed with what I've seen. I actually don't see a future in this lineup if I'm going to be realistic with myself. I think this lineup's completely lost its identity. I think they've gone from being a full Russian team to now this weak international lineup. I don't have a lot of faith in the Orba. I think for Prime Taps and Cypher to work with a Russian in-game leader and star player of Klax, it just seems odd. And I don't know. I don't know how you save this roster. I mean, you'd have to say, well, holding the likes of a Nori and a Resol and a Danist was probably the way forward, but they obviously kicked those players for a reason. It obviously wasn't working. So Yeah, I don't think this this iteration is savable. I think for Sangal, they've got to make some seriously tough decisions moving forward now, because they're going to get to a point where they're just not going to get invited into anything, are they? If they keep losing like they are now, having, what, 1 win out of your past 7 games on HLTV, you can't really make roster changes because that's going to affect your VRS points. And then if you eventually keep dropping down, well, you're not even going to get an invite to the next ECL Cup.
Yeah, I mean, look, you are right about these things. I will say that I was at least pleasantly surprised to see some good moments from certain players. Cypher, obviously, especially on map 1, was particularly good on that T-side entry basis, and it does show to me that he's still got some of that key star sort of aggression in his own right. I think the issue is the fact that it can be very inconsistent, and that definitely showed from map to map in this one. Radix didn't have a bad series. I don't think that means he's going to have many good series in the future, so I still think you're right about assessing him to be a weak player. We need to see more from him more consistently if we want to see that develop into anything for the Sangal side. I do agree, right? I do sort of look at this and say that there is potential that this team could just get dropped, that there isn't much of a future into it. I don't know how you save this squad. I'd say that there's potential in certain elements, but it is very much a case of strip it down to those bare bone parts and nearly start again, which is a very difficult prospect for any organisation, and any squad for that matter.
And I know that there's always been Turkish backing from Sangal with the owners and having Turkish players in the past, a full Turkish lineup, even when they had Madra and the boys back in the day. But I look at when the lineup was struggling and think, why are academy players even being promoted? With how many CIS talents there's out there right now, with how many unorg teams there are, with how many rising young riflers there is, I'm just surprised that even in the first place they decided to get RaddyX in here and bring in Hawks and then bring in a Prime Tabs, because to me it feels as if Sangal don't know whether they want to try and keep it CIS based, whether we want to keep it international. So yeah, very difficult when the organisation itself doesn't even really know what direction they want to move going forward.
Unfortunate as it might be, is a reality that they're going to have to live with, and they have to move forward with it regardless. Again, Sangal will be playing in the lower bracket from here on out, whereas Ursa move to that round of 16. Still got a couple of matches ongoing as well during the Challenger League at the moment. Eternal Fire Manor in overtime on map number 2, and Unity Min later on to map 3 as well. So they're also fighting for their upper bracket chances as the other community streams will be ongoing. For us here on ESL, that's all we have for you on today's broadcast. We're back here tomorrow, same time, 7 PM CET, bringing you another matchup in the ESL Challenger League Cup number 2. Until then, take care of yourselves. We'll see you soon. That smoke flicks don't quite connect to all the first or second shots. Does find another third one though. Alv down. Second round of fall of Karnes. That's a bit more like it.
And the NWP might as well just keep fighting on this one against the rotators in spawn and out from long.
Prime Tabs down. Looking in the CT spawn and turned back towards Klax on a double. Radix suddenly alone. Finds cover for both sides here. They're going to try and extend beyond that. 2 giving up towards Karnes. Last man's low HP, and both players run out of ammo. The USP's pulled out, but now Radix needs to deal with Salazar at 100. And he's still got his pistol. Return Salazar. Oh! For them, JO going to be seen. 4X now spotted as well. Line him up. It's an open plant. As Patsy going to watch this. He better do so. Engage. Salazar. What a transfer that is. Out by the backline player. The AWP probably not revealed as of yet, but Klax going to catch Salazar when he opens the jump face. Now gets the information they're looking for. Klax needs to force him out. That HE still not able to get the casualty. Klax still hasn't got a kit either.
The best of anti-rush util, and they're not going to have the best of weapons anyway. Now it could get expensive in the end here from Prime Tap. You've still got a player out here towards a silo, and Cypher just taps him.
RaddyX is good for one trade back on the side defense. It needs to get a second. Not going to happen. 4X removes him. AWP watching heaven. Connects it. Prime Taps falls, and in a matter of moments, it's all come undone for Sangal. 30 seconds and the round is over. There's nothing that Patsy can do.